ES Cinder, a remix of Dark Souls 3 by Rotaka. Folks, you know what that song means. No, that's at the end. You spoiled it now.
Fair. Oh, damn.
Can't do it now.
Well,
Ooh.
I especially know what it is. It's definitely the best Friday of the month. It's also June. It's also Pride Month.
Yeah.
It's also round 69.
Nice.
Yeah, this just all happened to line up.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out really well. Unfortunately, our show is not 2 days from now, so it can't be 6/9 of 2019. But hey, you can go back and listen to it then.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then recall how nice it was on the nice day.
Truth.
And then you can go back and listen to it again on September 6th.
That's true. If you're proper date formats.
I don't even know.
Well, then again,
date
like
format
the
that would be.
ISO date format doesn't do that anyway, because it's year, month, day.
I mean, why not both? You know?
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
You could
Because
be
if
ultra pedantic British about it or something. I don't know.
If you're deliberately like non-specific, like ambiguous about it,
Right.
then you can celebrate it on both days.
Like, you know how many date formats there are? You could probably get like 4 or 5 nice days out of there.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, welcome everybody. I'm MrBond.
I'm Tormod.
And I'm Saxxon.
Insert credits, hooray!
Nice.
It's been, 3 weeks?
Yeah,
This was
thereabouts.
kind of a short gap since round 68 because of just how things fell, but
That's true.
That's right. So
They waited for it.
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
We
true.
did tell everybody to wait for it.
That's true.
I mean, that was our command to
Yeah.
have given. So housekeeping then. We have the next 3 shows lined up.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna keep
and I
that
have
up
them,
on the tablet.
Written down here.
Let's
Round
see.
70 on the 12th of July.
Seems correct.
Yep. Round 71 on the 16th of August.
Mhm.
And round 72 on the 13th of September.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite as nice of days, but,
True.
we'll just have to learn to deal with it.
I mean, everybody else can deal with it.
Right. I mean, well, we'll have to, too, because it's our show and whatever. But...
And also to note, because we may as well keep talking about dates, not even 3 weeks after our next the radio show in September is that thing that we do called Super Stigma Slam.
That is true. The second annual one, in fact.
Indeed. And that's sure coming up a lot sooner than I wanted it to, but that's cool.
Hey, we got like 4-ish months.
Yeah, that's
A
true.
little bit less than 4 months.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's plenty of time for me to practice whatever I'm gonna end up doing.
Whatever I'm slotting you for in the schedule, yeah.
Right. Well, I guess that's good to bring up now because our plan, at least for now, is to open submissions for it in roughly a month's time. So we're
Give you plenty of time.
right, because
Give us plenty of time.
as we learned last year, we did not slate nearly enough time for the organizational side of things, but that is a lesson learned. So
It was.
we are
Then
implementing
again,
that
I mean,
immediately.
it's also, like kind of taking care of like processes came out of that, and
And we also don't have another wedding to do that same weekend.
I
That's
hope
true.
not.
Yeah.
I mean,
if
we
you
could
do,
remarry
I've got some
people.
questions.
yeah.
Marriage again, more party.
I mean, whatever does it for you, I suppose.
Carrot cake too, the cakening.
But I would
Oh.
prefer not to host another major charity event an hour after a wedding.
It was a good time.
It was a good time. It worked out, but that doesn't mean we can shoot for not doing it again.
That's true. But hey, it's coming up. It's going to be the first weekend of October. It starts on Friday, it ends on Sunday. It's going to probably be a thing that we do year to year. The dates will obviously change as the calendar decides to move around that jerk, but,
How dare you, Gregorian calendar?
Yeah.
plus leap years?
You
Oh, plus
calendar.
sleep year. I get it.
Yeah.
So this year, that happens to be the 4th through the 6th of
Indeed.
October, that Friday to Sunday.
Yeah, it starts
Sure.
right on Sax's birthday.
All right, happy birthday. We're doing a charity marathon in your honor.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
And
guess.
then the second day is the anniversary. Yay.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Here's the second day of a charity event in your honor.
Cough, cough.
Wow.
Take this.
The only really significant requirement that I had is that we had a party, and we did after we got married. The marathon was a party.
That was certainly a party or a party-like event.
Yeah, it lasted the whole weekend, and it was great.
a party compliance event. ISO 6969.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get liberal use of that emote tonight, by the way.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I mean, when else, if not on the nice show, I suppose.
It's Tormod nice.
Oh.
It's my third tier emote. It's
God.
just exceedingly large grin with sunglasses and a thumbs up
Why?
because it's nice.
Because it's
Yeah.
nice, apparently. All right, housekeeping over. How about some around the world? Beat Saber is out of early access. It hit full release on the 21st of May, very shortly after our previous show, and it made it as a launch title for the Oculus Quest.
Oh,
That
right on.
standalone VR helmet that Oculus did.
It looks like a lot of fun. I really need to pick it up. They had that game showcased at Midwest Gaming Classic. Like they had a huge setup, huge screen, and all that other fun stuff. And like there were a lot of kids and kids and adults, I guess, that were like really interested in giving this a try. So of course, I also want to accidentally destroy my own living room furniture as well.
Sure, as
So-
one does, it is a rite of passage, or so I'm told.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard nothing but good things and critical acclaim for
Yeah.
Beat Saber. It is
Same.
It looks like a blast.
It's
I wanna
been
do it.
described many times as VR's killer game or whatever, which I
And it's only
believe.
$20.
And it's a rhythm game, so you know I
right?
have to.
So why the heck not? That's also the one that spawned the bug fix to get better hardware polling for the sensors and such because
good.
of human limitations being assumed poorly, as we discussed, I believe, 2 or 3 shows
I
back.
think it was
Oh, yeah.
2, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
which is hilarious and awesome and cool. So good work, Beat Saber devs. That was also the focus of one other topic from last time about YouTube being a pile of ass. So
yeah.
there you go. We've made it.
Wow, do I have some news on that?
Yeah, the
boy,
saga
boy.
continues.
Yeah. Oh, not the same saga. I hope a different one, right?
No, this is another shitty saga. Thank you,
Okay.
Team YouTube.
Okay.
So, yeah, they've been taking down a lot of channels with Pride stuff during Pride
Oh,
Month,
right. Yeah.
and
okay.
it's just like, really?
Ah.
You couldn't have chosen any other time to do
No,
this. You had to do
of
it
course
during the
they
worst
couldn't.
possible time. Fuck you, YouTube. That's all I got.
Okay, I was thinking of another YouTube debacle that has very little relation to gaming, so I don't want to bring it up
Fair.
here.
Mhm.
So everybody remembers the Ouya, right? Yeah,
Do you
right.
still have yours? Or did
No,
you...
that was
Okay.
long since donated.
Okay.
I wish to forget it.
Very good, very
Yeah.
good. Well, they were previously bought up by Razer,
Yeah, they were.
and it's being phased out completely by the 25th of June. Rip.
Yeah.
That's about it for it's like it's they tried,
Yeah.
I guess.
It's a-
That could be said about it, but
Yeah. It's a really cool idea, but then they executed like none of the good parts of it.
yeah, it's a nice thought.
Mhm.
Very poor execution.
I'm still holding out hope though for another like mini console that is
Oh,
as
boy.
dev friendly.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna send off the Ouya in the only way I know how.
To Goodwill, because
No.
that's how you did it the last time.
No, it wasn't actually.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's an oofya.
yeah, it's pretty bad. That is pretty bad.
Hey, unfortunately, the Twitch app on iOS cannot pull in FFC emotes. Otherwise, I would have accompanied that with an oofda.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's
So-
fair.
How appropriately
Oh.
Midwest of you.
Do we?
You
have
can
that?
do it.
Do we
yeah,
have
it's
that on
it's
here?
on there. I'm
Uh,
pretty sure.
Does
You
it
don't
have a
have
prefix?
FFC.
I don't have it. I'm gonna just go with it and hope that it shows up for everybody else.
Ah.
Please send. Thank you.
We'll find out.
I guess. But we do have an emote for Oofda. I swear, I promise. But yeah, I thought you were gonna go with some Macho Man Randy Savage with that. Oh yeah!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no! Anyways, rip Ouya.
Yeah.
So you remember the song of the Hedgehog we were talking about last time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been delayed to the 14th of February, 2020. So happy.
Wow, that happened to the last month?
Happy yeah, it did.
Shit.
I know, right?
Yeah, they delayed it so that Sonic can have one eye again.
So happy preemptive Valentine's Day 2020. You can go see the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
That is
We
something
may
we
need
should
to make
absolutely...
a venture of this. Actually,
yeah.
is that
Oh
going to
my-
be a Friday? Let's
I
find out.
don't know.
I mean, they don't release movies on not Friday, so I was just curious.
Is that
No.
true?
Oh, it
No.
is. It is a Friday, and I'm
Son
on
of
call.
a bitch, it is.
Um,
we're still gonna go.
That might be round.
I want to have something.
77,
I want to have something romantic
78?
like that.
79.
No,
I
we're
don't know.
doing the radio show on the 7th.
We could do just a live on-site insert credits at the movie theater.
We'd have to make sure that it's audio only, otherwise we'll probably get busted for DMCA.
Though that would be fucking hilarious. I would almost take that as like a fucking badge of honor.
I'd have to
love
find
it.
someone else to cover on call for me that night because it's worth. But yeah,
Well, anyways, this was all because of the brouhaha about people reacting very strongly in the negative direction about Sonic's design, and the director, producer, whoever it was
Nah.
like, "Oh yeah, we'll fix it" or whatever. And
this totally wasn't a marketing ploy.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know that they're playing 10-dimensional chess with this one. I'm pretty sure they wanted it to go out like that, and now suddenly they're like, "Oh shit, we did a bad."
That's what I want to believe.
Oh
But the cynic in me thinks it was like planned this way to generate buzz all along.
I mean, it would honestly be better if it were like if it was just them being that stupid from the get-go. Then you don't deserve my money.
Well, then that's a really shitty thing to do to Jim Carrey because he makes a good Robotnik.
He
Huh.
does.
At least in the trailer, he did. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Wait,
a
are they
perfect
replacing
role
him
for
too?
No.
Oh, good.
I mean, it's a shitty marketing ploy when at least one of the main characters is pretty good.
You're not wrong,
Whatever.
Dr. Eggman.
They better not call him Eggman.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of old school Robotnik. Like,
Yeah, you know,
give me
you're
Robotnik,
fine.
not the
Eggman.
dumbass.
that
Eggman
would be
garble.
no good.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Oh boy. So I think we also brought this up recently, if not last show, then the show before. The Project X Cloud, that Microsoft Cloud gaming service we couldn't remember the name of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it will supposedly support all Xbox One titles, like from the get-go,
Oh,
plus a few more from
Wait.
further backwards compatibility.
Wait, repeat this?
So Project X Cloud, you know,
Uh-huh.
Microsoft's game streaming service
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever, will support all Xbox One titles.
It's almost like they're doing that to compete with Stadia
I know, right?
and PlayStation, whatever the hell it's
It's
called.
just- now we can't remember the
Yes,
PlayStation
now.
one.
There we go, I
PlayStation
think.
Yeah.
something or other.
Right? So
Huh.
I guess good. I don't know. Like, I don't really give a shit about the whole game streaming thing, but cool.
I mean, doesn't that kind of go along with the whole media-less Xbox One, I guess?
I thought so too,
I don't know.
but
I'm not.
eh,
It's fine.
whatever. So good luck, I guess. I have very neutral reactions to that, so it doesn't. Whatever. Just do whatever you need to do, Microsoft.
Yeah, whatever, it's fine.
I'm feeling usual about this.
That's a good way to put it. It's a very usual thing. So Konami's Contra is going to join Arcade Classics and Castlevania, the two already released kind of anthologies, sometime this summer, as the final trio of their 50th anniversary collections.
All right.
Jesus. Konami's been
50
around for
years.
50 years.
Yeah.
Hey, Konami, don't fuck this one up too.
Yeah, please don't. Like, I like Contra. And I
Okay.
like Castlevania.
Yeah, I was gonna say those are big names to kind of f up.
They are.
Just saying, don't do it.
I don't think I've heard anything too poor about Arcade Classics or Castlevania, so they might not have fucked it up.
Well, we'll have to find out.
But I guess we'll find out in summer if they fuck up Contra. But yeah, it's a whole bundle of games under the Contra franchise, including Probotector, which was the European release of it, or the
Oh,
Genesis
okay.
release of it. I don't remember. It was the one where they replaced the humans with the robots to get around some.
I think that was like like they did that when they brought it
ratings
to
or whatever.
like PAL regions
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
Silly pal.
yeah. The Valmont brothers. Yes, the Valmont brothers
Uh,
in Castlevania.
Hallelujah.
Oh no. So yesterday was also a very important anniversary for another very major video game franchise. Happy 35th anniversary to Tetris,
That's what I said.
Right on.
right?
But like now, people are saying that's revisionist history, and I'm really
How-
confused.
How so?
Which
Really?
Tetris?
I don't know.
Like, I think the very original Alexei Pahitnov developing the
Like
They
the
asked
Electronica
Tetris.
Yeah.
60?
yeah.
Cause like I sent Eon a link about it, and then she's all like, "There's like some sort of proof that this is revisionist history," and I'm like,
Okay, well, I'd like to
Whatever.
see it then.
Yeah.
"Yeah, same." So I was all excited, and then I got shot down. So I'm like,
Okay.
I don't know what's real anymore.
Well, happy maybe 35th anniversary
Yeah.
then, I guess.
I like
don't know.
Tetris. I just want to play it.
Yeah, all right. Well, good on it for being around for so long and
Mm-hmm.
doing all the cool blocky stacky things. So whatever.
It's true.
All right, that's all I got for around the world. What else we got going on here?
Well, I did my little Octopath Traveler little shindig last weekend on the Switch.
Did you finish it?
No.
Oh.
No, there was a lot more than I thought that would be there, and then I got distracted by challenging all the NPCs in the game instead of making progress on the story.
He's just traveling the world, asking everyone if they want to go.
On the 8 paths, yes.
You want to fight me? Huh? You want some of this?
Hey, you 86-year-old woman, you think you could take me? Why are you trying to fight an old woman?
Is that
Bam.
seriously an interaction?
I mean, yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, you can challenge literally every NPC.
So what happens? Do you actually fight them?
Yes.
What?
It's a
Why?
one-on-one battle between Ulbrich and the NPC.
Okay.
And usually Ulbrich's just like bap with a sword and they die. In one hit.
All right. So what do you get out of that?
XP.
Yeah.
Depending on the
Okay.
challenge rating, like it's a challenge rating of 1 to 10. And a lot of people are like 5 or below and they usually die in a single round. So it happens when you're level 78.
I guess.
So I've just been going around beating everybody up and stealing from them because why wouldn't you do that?
I don't know. It's like, is there any consequence to doing that? It's
No,
just like,
actually.
have your XP and gold and items and whatever and be on your way.
There's only a
And then you leave
consequence
the
if
area
you
and
lose.
you come back and you can challenge them
What
again.
the hell? What?
Yeah.
Ah, that seems gratuitous.
I mean, it is. That's why I've enjoyed it so much.
All right. Fair.
But
That's
Yeah.
fair.
so I did not finish the game. I will at some point. I'm taking a break from Twitch because I've been a little too involved. But Octopath Traveler for PC released today.
Hooray!
Excitement.
Confetti.
So yeah. Yeah. So now people are already talking about randomizer, and I'm like, yes.
Jeez, come on. You
Yeah,
can't give it like a
I
week.
suppose now that it's on PC, yeah, you can probably
Wow.
You just got to
Oh.
figure out how to decrypt the files and do your own shit. I mean, they did it with the Ori
won't
games
take
and
long.
stuff already. So
No, it won't take.
I mean,
long.
all they
And
gotta do is
Lava
strip
for
the
some
DRM
god-awful
away.
reason.
Well, you know, at some point you'll just have to try it.
Nope.
all they gotta do. You make it sound easy.
A donation incentive.
Nope.
yeah,
I've watched a couple of them. That is enough for me.
that's fair. You can live vicariously through Arthur Blues' terrible decisions.
That wound is still rather fresh.
Well, that's the second game, not the first.
Both of them, in fact.
Wait, they both have randomizers?
The second one I've heard they are working on. Yeah.
Could probably be a better engine to do it with. But
It probably would be.
anyway, I'm rambling. So back on Google Stadia, that thing, the Google thing, the $130 Founders Kit, which is suspiciously inexpensive, comes with a Chromecast Ultra, Destiny 2 plus its expansion, a 3-month pass for you, a 3-month pass for a buddy, and this is coming in late 2019. It's the only way that you can get this stuff in 2019 because the non-Stadia Pro subscription starts in 2020. The Pro subscription will be $10 a month, but it will not include the latest titles. Instead, some of those you could just buy outright, I guess. It's recommended that you have 35 megabits per second for 4K 60 gaming, and the part that confuses me is that it'll originally only be available on the Pixel 3 and the 3A, including the XL variants, which makes me go, huh? 4K? Huh? I don't get it. So, Stadia, enlighten me. Moving on.
I mean, the joke's partially on them because one of my items was Destiny 2 is now free.
Right?
So, I mean, there goes some of your value already.
Hashtag value.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I don't... sorry, not to belabor the point at all. But I don't...
Please do.
Like, it's just a mix of... Like, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to do? Google, what are you trying to do? Plus, I want to wait a year and a half and see if they kill it
Fair.
first.
I mean, what's even...
They want to be the new ya.
You.
Oh,
Yeah.
you get that out of your mouth.
Oh.
Ugh. Anyways,
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my
Ugh.
goodness. Yeah.
Fair. So yeah, that's a thing, and I'm not interested at all, and people are surprised that I'm not. And I'm like, okay. Whatever.
It seems like it It's a
The
really
use
rough
case is
sell.
people with good internet but without a gaming PC.
Which is
Sure.
weird because their big selling point, I think, was that it could run anywhere with a web browser. Wasn't that their whole brouhaha when they first announced this shit?
You know, I've stopped caring.
I know, so did I, but I thought that was the USP a long time ago.
Whatever.
Meh.
Moving on. More stupid Google shit. YouTube bans minors from streaming on its platform without adult supervision. Okay, that one's not so bad.
Yeah.
Google, you're dumb. Just overall, you're dumb. Moving on. Microsoft is bringing more of its first-party titles to Steam in addition to its own store. So instead of having to get Xbox games for gold or whatever the hell it is on Windows,
Yeah, okay.
or its little Play something or other brand that it had for a
Mhm,
while,
mhm, mhm.
now they're actually starting to branch out and release things on Steam and potentially other platforms too. Please don't be Epic. So yeah. Let's see here.
Beyond their Halo Master Chief Collection, which we covered 1 or 2 shows ago
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
Speaking of the Epic Game Store,
Uh-oh.
the reason I grew to know Austin Wintory's name was because he wrote the soundtrack for a game, an indie game released on the PlayStation 3 called Journey. It launched yesterday on the Epic Game Store. Yeah.
As an exclusive, I'm betting.
Uh-huh.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like back before this ended up being a thing, like I had some really high hopes, and then now it's just kind of like
It's not
really
getting reinstalled on any of my PCs. They can go suck a
No.
chode.
yeah.
Take that, Pride. That's all I got. I'm angry.
Ineffective grumbling. I don't like this. I don't like
Same.
where this is going. Stop.
Same.
Yeah. Just it can just hop in a shopping cart and go down a steep hill.
It
Oh,
can.
wait.
That's cute.
One of the shopping carts with the squeaky front wheels that you just can't get rid of. Yeah, exactly. Right.
I want you to
except-
hit the end real hard.
Except they don't have one, so I would probably have to provide them with that too.
Right. Well, yeah, it's not tough to find one of
It's
those.
funny because they don't have a shopping cart.
Ha! Eat
got-
it, Epic.
there we
I
go.
wanted to make sure that
I
we
was-
just pointed
All
out
right.
his joke.
Okay, I was
Just
wondering where you
saying.
were going with that. What?
It's
what?
like, I already went
Okay.
there.
Very good.
You know, Omega Weapon,
Very
exactly same, and then they didn't, and now I'm pissy.
Yeah.
More so than usual.
Like we said last time, this is a slap fight between billionaires, and nobody is winning.
No.
I've been taking anger lessons from Jim fucking Sterling, so God bless that man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He is a gem.
ray tracing has been added to Quake 2 and will be available in July. RTX, baby.
I think the demo is already out on Steam. Plus, you can buy it for
Curious.
$5 or whatever, right?
Nice. Well, apparently it's going to be available in fullsies in July. So
Hmm.
that's what I'm told. And despite it lightening up the game quite a bit, it still looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. That was the one thing that disappointed me was like in all the screenshots and stuff, they turned the brightness way up. I'm like, no.
Ooh.
Well, you have
Quake
to
2
get
is
HDR
like-
somehow, I guess.
It's
So
it is intentionally dark.
Yeah.
Like so I don't know. I'm gonna grab it for myself and figure out if that's still the case.
Yeah, I'll give it a go and see what the 1070 can do with it. Non RTX, obviously, but
Oh well, good luck with that.
yeah, I'd be shocked if I got more than 10 FPS out of it.
You know, actually, thinking on RTX, because I doubt you have this in your notes. I haven't looked. But NVIDIA kind of teased a super line of GPUs in order to compete with all of the new Vega offerings from AMD, which I'll let you talk about all of the AMD stuff. But apparently, there are going to be SKUs for a Super 2060, 70, and 80, not the TI of any of those. So, I don't know. Apparently, whatever. Supposedly,
Wait, where does the super fall in? Like, is it just
it's a refresh.
okay?
Like,
With their-
supposedly they're adding GDDR6 to all of them and upping some clock speeds.
But
and
is it
shit.
like above or below the TI?
I'm
It
guessing
is below.
I'm guessing this is still RTX since it's 2000
Yes.
series.
Yeah. So it's just like whatever. But apparently I read, and I don't know if this is confirmed because obviously anything beyond the teaser is a spoiler / rumor. Supposedly the OG RTX 2080 is going to be dropping by $100.
Good, so they can put that $100 on the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You know,
Mm.
board partners have been slapping like SC on the end of their cards
Looking at you,
to kind of
EVGA.
yeah.
Super
SSC.
clocked.
And SSC and FTW.
Yeah.
And I don't
For
know.
the
It's
win!
the same dang thing.
It is. But
Gigabyte can suck a chode.
I'll stand by EVGA. They've been good with their products.
True.
At least in my
EVGA
experience.
has been pretty
so-
solid for me too.
Yeah, we only had that one dead card so far, which Amazon replaced, and it's been fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Well, speaking of dead cards, I know this is way off base. But which one of my cards did I give you that fried?
That was
the
a 4 something.
460?
460 or 465 or something
Yeah,
like that?
whatever.
I was
Yeah.
going back through my warranties. One of them had a lifetime warranty on it. And
Oh.
I'm wondering if that was the one that fried.
You know, I still have the card.
I don't want it back. I'm not going to warranty it, but I was just going through
It
my product
smells real
registrations and
good.
shit. I
Yeah.
was just like, wow, this had a lifetime. And then the next one I registered, I think, was the 670 in my server. 3-year warranty.
Yeah. So, what do you figure they're gonna do for like a lifetime
know, actually, I'm
warranty?
kinda
I don't know what
curious,
they would
like,
do. I'm not really
they-
sure what
they-
they would do.
I want to
have to
find
give
out
you-
now.
They'd have to give you something if they were gonna do that.
They'd probably
they can't
give you
just
like a
outright
1050
replace
or
it.
something.
That's
Yeah.
true. Like, I
Still,
don't-
it's a free GPU.
They
maybe.
might give you something.
I mean,
more
if you
recent.
still got it, I guess I would
Where did
take
you
it
put
back. But
it's so for months it's been out by the recycling bin, but we
I
can't
don't
put it in
see
the.
it. I didn't see it when I put the bin back.
It's because it's in that space between where the bin and the wall are.
I know that, but I didn't
Oh, well,
see
it
it
was-
recently.
I didn't e-waste it yet. We were going to. We kept the bag there, thinking, okay,
know.
one of these times we're gonna
thought
take
we
a trip
did, but
out
do you
okay.
still
to
have the box for
recycle.
it too?
I only ever received
Damn.
I mean, it
the
was
sleeve and the card. I thought.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
we
do
got a
remember
box
you
with
taking
that.
it out of a box, and the UPC was gone because you had a rebate on it.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So not that the box would do you much, but
Yeah. Well, just curious. Well, I guess if you still got it, I'll take it back and see what they do. Because this is
Yeah.
the weirdest fucking thing to just notice. Like, I was checking other registrations for no goddamn reason, but because I could. And it's like, damn, it's a lifetime warranty on that?
Yeah, you get
Damn.
everything out of them
Exactly,
that
yeah.
you can.
I guess I'll see what they say. Even if it's like a 1050 or whatever, that's like,
Yeah, maybe just
okay.
call them up first before I go looking for this thing.
you're like, so
fair.
yeah, I have one of these. It blew up in a glory of purple smoke.
awesome. The magic smoke escaped. Oh
I know,
no!
exactly.
It's like I freed the genie but didn't get a wish.
You got a whiff though.
Hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, sorry. Let's proceed.
I brought your news up so you could read it.
I
and
know.
then you
and
got
I'm
distracted.
I'm
Good
just
job.
reading the comments.
Sorry.
Not you.
Uh,
that thing.
Right. Anyway.
The purple glowing thing.
Yeah.
Hey, you didn't want to be white guys, okay? So we gave you some purple.
I love it. I'm very
Podcast.
royal.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, speaking of AMD stuff, the Ryzen 3000 series. I've been excited about this I know, right? I've been
Hey,
excited
man,
about this
look.
all year, and
No, I do that with enthusiasm, not sarcasm. Just saying.
Take it
yeah,
outside then.
Oh, okay.
This is
So
my place.
Ew.
I know, right?
we
Sorry, continue.
we were able to well, we received a like a part list, I guess. I don't know if you call it a SKU list. Maybe you would, but
I mean, you know,
at the very-
it's there.
at the very top is their 3900X
12 cores
12 cores.
with an increase in single-threaded performance by between 20 and 30%.
Yep. And didn't they say you can go up to like 4.8 or something?
Yeah, that's the base clock.
4.8
the
is the
base
base?
boost. It's the
Gosh.
base boost
Ah.
without having to overclock it yourself.
But for single core.
Supposedly you can boost up on multiple cores.
But what's like the base clock across?
It's probably
everything?
3.8, 4.2, something like
Yeah.
that.
Pretty goddamn good.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty great. And there's a lot of improvements on that architecture. So,
Base
what am
boost.
I reading?
So yeah, so the part that really gets me though is as a bit of a budget conscious shopper, aka I'm a cheap ass. I was very excited to see that their top offering was $499.
So far,
Yeah,
E3 starts tomorrow?
it starts very soon.
This weekend, I believe, yeah.
Tomorrow. So everybody seems to think that, okay, so at Computex, they announced the 3900X as their top of the line. That's the Ryzen 9 series. There's been many things to suggest that a 3950X is yet to be announced.
Mm.
Because it's been on the show floor and benched, and it wasn't announced.
Yeah.
So that, instead of maxing at 12 cores, will have 16. Supposedly for 589 or something around those lines, but still, for an enthusiast processor on, what is it, the AM4 socket now?
They've been on AM4
Which
for a
is
long time.
Still going to be a thing through 2020, mind you.
It's just like, you know, it's a huge shock, you know, especially if like, you know, you look back a number of years, like you know, whenever Intel would announce like their next generation or whatever, it's all like, you can get this, you know, the same kind of processor, but it'll cost you like $1,800 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So also consider though that the Threadripper 1950X and the 2950X, we'll even say the 1950X, that retailed
It's
at
still
what,
really good.
$899 for
It
16
was-
cores,
yeah, it was
32 threads.
Getting up there, almost.
And I
to
mean,
the
on
1,000.
sale it was like $750, but
Yeah, I think it
the
was still sub 1,000.
2950X, it was. The 2950X is cheaper than the 1950X, and it was also 16 cores and 32 threads. Curious.
Yeah.
So now thinking of the 3950X, which will outperform the Threadripper based on even Zen Plus, because Zen 2 is so much better. Seeing that for even $600 would be a goddamn steal. It's being compared against the i9 9700K. Is that the right number I'm thinking of?
It very well could be.
Whatever.
I don't know.
It's being compared against an enthusiast i9 that is triple the price, and it's going clock for clock. So Intel can suck a chode, more so than even the last two generations. Real curious about this 3950X. Mind you, this was the 12-core offering. This wasn't the 16-core that was being benched against that. 16 cores, though, real curious. However, I'm trying to be patient because initially there was some concern that Threadripper came off of the map for 2019. Lisa Su at Computex assured everybody that it was not disappearing.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious what we're going to see in the Threadripper line, because the 1920X was 12 cores, the 1950X was 16. You'd almost have to start with something that's higher than that.
I would guess 20 or 24 at this point.
Yeah.
And then what would be the high end? The 2950WX or whatever it was this last time was it 28 threads? 50
did it
or
hit
28
28?
cores, 56 threads? Something. It was an obscene amount.
They're
It was
gonna go right
actually
to 32.
32 would be pretty rocking.
well, I'm thinking that they might even go up to 40.
That would be ridiculous.
It would be.
Give me
At
more
some-
memory channels, damn it. I don't want
Yeah.
more CPU cores.
Well, it's actually interesting you say that, and this is
Oh.
one of the reasons that I'm considering waiting. So, RAM on AM4 is dual channel. On Threadripper is quad channel. Because they split at least with the 50 series and below, and I'm not sure how it works above. No, it's the same above. So half the cores, like half the die itself, has access to this
right.
locally. The other half to that side locally, but they can interweave. So there were some issues with memory latency on first and second gen because, well, trying to cross that barrier was an expensive operation. That's why they released software called Ryzen Master, so you can be like, okay, all of these cores go to this RAM. Don't interleave. Don't do these things. And it made performance quite a bit better. It's amusing, though, because Windows 10, not a server operating system, started seeing people with 32 threads, and it was like, what the fuck? And it had issues with its process scheduler. So everyone's like, we gotta disable hyperthreading, or we need to disable some cores or whatnot, because Windows literally could not do shit right for a while, until they patched, and then it was fine. NUMA nodes are sure a thing. Yeah, think about that. So it's funny because the initial benchmarks for Zen Plus on Threadripper were amazing on Linux because they had a different process scheduler. They had
Hey, how about that?
imagine that. And it had several options for process schedulers. If you're familiar with, say, I don't know, installing ROMs on your phone, think about all of those optimizations you do in the kernel there. Those same schedulers apply to normal PCs as well. Windows, the kernel just couldn't quite grasp the methodology of how to do it in the most optimized way. They have fixed that. But that interleaving, what do they call it?
It's
The
like Infinity Fabric or something.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
Yeah.
what it
So
is.
supposedly it's far better now that they've moved to this chiplet format because you have 8 cores, memory controller, and between all of them together, instead of just being like one way to the memory controller, it's all of them can mix and match and shit. So real curious what Threadripper does. Like, sure, okay, I might bite the bullet and be like, fine, I need an upgrade right now, and I'll get a 3900 or a 3950 if they do announce it. And then 2 months later they announce Threadripper, and I'm gonna be like, oh.
Yeah, just wait.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it.
Just
So
wait for a bit.
I'm in no big rush. My excuse, I'll even label it as such, this year is my hypervisor at home running all of my servers is a quad-core, 4-thread, 3rd gen Intel Xeon, and it's barfing. So the sooner I can replace that with something else, the better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's working fine for now.
As we sit 10 feet away from my 9-year-old server with a first gen Core i7.
You're Wow.
Uh,
not running VMs, though, are you?
I am.
Are
I am.
you?
It's got a
I'm
couple
curious.
VMs up on it.
Good.
With,
All right.
get this, triple channel memory. Why did we
Hey.
go backwards to double channel? Fucking
I remember
Intel.
that being a thing.
Yeah, right?
Jeez, 6
Yeah.
RAM slots on a motherboard was so fucky.
It
Remember
is.
those giant tower coolers that we had at the time? Yeah,
Yep.
that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I made a pun by accident. Anyway,
I get it.
there we go.
After a moment.
Why don't you tell us
Anyways.
more?
Yeah.
As we
Now
got
that I've
off
rambled
on
on
the
about AM4,
Yeah.
but
CPU
I
architectures.
mean, well, while we're here, we might as well also talk about X570.
yes. The goodness with PCI Express 4.
Yeah. I am not aware of how much of a difference that's going to make.
Double the
Double the
bandwidth.
bandwidth.
Ooh, yep. What does that translate into? Like,
32 gigatransfers per second, I
I
believe.
thought it was 64 now.
Is it up to 64 now?
I think it's 64 on an X16.
Okay, that very
Yeah.
well could be.
I know, but like, what does it mean?
Not
like, how does
much,
it
because
feel-
nothing can saturate it.
Right.
Well, it's interesting that you say that too, because supposedly the RTX 2080 Ti on PCI Express 3 can more than saturate X8 by only a few percentage.
Oh.
but
X8,
finally
right.
something did. So, just saying.
But until we get SLI X16, it's not going to mean anything.
it's real curious though.
Yeah.
Like,
I suppose maybe like storage could saturate a bus like that.
Mm.
Like really, really
Like the- It's
obnoxiously
funny you
fast
mentioned
storage.
that.
the good NVMe drives now.
yeah,
Mm.
there are some PCI Express 4.0 X4 solid state drives that are pushing like, what was it, 6 gigabytes per second?
Yeah, I saw 5,000, 5,500 going on. in
Something
there.
like
It's
that. I was just kind of like,
oh.
and that's not even enterprise grade. This is
Right?
just the, hey, we threw it out there as quickly as we could. Imagine what they can do with optimizations. It's so exciting.
Hey, look, the sooner they can push SSDs, not even NVMe, like normal SATA SSDs that I can replace my spinning Rust out there with. the
You know,
better.
it's funny
That'd
you
be
mentioned
great.
that too, because the pricing for DDR4 and NVMe solid state drives has plummeted in the last 6 weeks. We are now seeing 1 terabyte NVMe drives for about $100.
Yeah, but I need more than that for less money.
Well, that's, I mean, when is that true? But
It's
still.
like it's not cheap enough.
It isn't. Like, I did price out like
Yeah.
some serious storage upgrades, and it worked out to be like $1,700 to replace what I got in there
Okay.
with SSDs, and I'm like,
Oh, with SSDs.
If I
still
wanted to
can't
get-
do it.
If I wanted to get 4 spinning Rust discs of, what was it, 12 or 14
Oh yeah,
terabytes
spinning
each?
Rust is like hugely much less expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
about
at
that
some point,
though. It's
they're not gonna be able to make
$2,000
them any
replace my
cheaper.
drives.
How many
4
drives though?
drives.
That's still like 48 terabytes.
Well, I'd be doing RAID 10, but still.
Okay, 24 terabytes effective, but
Right.
still, I've only got 8 effective out there, so it's like
It's true. Well, actually, though, like, what do you have? How many discs do you have? in
there are
total?
6 in there, 6 by 3s. So
what kind of RAID
9-ish.
array is that?
It's a RAID 10.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
Yeah,
What's
it's
your usable space? 4?
about 9-ish.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like 8.4, 8.1 or something,
I
because
gotcha.
marketers lie through their teeth all the
That's
time.
true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, once you start hitting the like 4 terabyte SSDs, which are due to be a thing anytime now.
Yeah, what's the sweet spot now? Where like
1
you
terabyte
haven't,
is super cheap.
you haven't
if you
quite
have
hit
enough
diminishing
slots.
returns,
Mhm.
but it's
Yeah,
also like
I've only got 6 slots.
Well-
6 SATA slots that I can use effectively for
Oh,
that stuff.
SATA. Got it. Got it.
Like
right.
not even NVMe. I don't.
Right.
I'm not plugging NVMe into a 9-year-old board
Right. Which,
Yeah.
and
Funny you
PCIe
mentioned
2.
yeah, could you even?
I could try. I don't know that it would work all that well.
well,
Yeah.
the 4th gen had a BIOS update that allowed booting from PCIe to NVMe breakout boards, which is actually what we're doing in our living room now.
Oh, I know I could do a USB boot to NVMe if I really wanted to. That should
Nasty.
exist. I know. I know it's disgusting and dirty, but I would definitely do it. So
just a little.
So is that your 930?
yes, it is.
Woof.
That's the one that I had.
Yes.
Hey, it's
Yep.
real good.
It's
Oh,
still
It's a
wow.
kicking.
solid processor.
Still kicking.
Gosh, that's got to be over 10 years by now.
Hey, it's not a Core 2 quad, okay?
no, that's true. It's the first gen the Core i series, first gen.
That's when we started
Wolf
at
scale?
that
Clock
job
scale?
together.
Yes.
That same summer.
Correct. The
Huh.
August of that year.
Hmm.
Roughly thereabouts.
It's about time to retire soon.
Hey, it's still kicking, and I'm just kind of keeping an eye out for things,
Yeah.
but I don't want to
Thermal's
touch it.
okay? Has
It's-
it cried?
No, it's
Okay.
still all right.
All right, cool. Now I'm starting to think of just how long ago that was. Wow.
Like 9 years,
Yeah.
almost.
Oh, way to date that. Dang,
Uh-huh.
we've been in Madison for a while. Yeah. Well, anyway.
So yeah, X570.
Proceed.
Cooling.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, here we go.
Active.
Yeah, active cooling for motherboard chipset required.
With the exception of 1 gigabyte board that I've seen was passively
oh my
cooled.
goodness, are
Yeah.
you serious?
I mean, it's not the first time. Like, there have been a number of times in the past where like chipsets have needed active cooling.
The
Like-
reason why this one does is now built into the chipset, there's NVMe RAID capabilities. And they need to cool the controller for it.
Yeah.
So if you
'Cause that's
don't
passing
use
a whole
that,
lot of
you
bits.
turn it off, then you instantly get
Interesting.
that heat back.
Like
But,
more than 2 M2 slots going on that thing?
well, I think it's so that it allows you to RAID between M2,
Hmm,
built into the chipset itself.
Interesting.
So, because
I
you have direct
guess.
access to the CPU's PCIe lanes and everything, it's smoking fast. We're
Mhm.
talking, well, with RAID 10, the potential for 12 gigabytes per second, which is a lot of gigabytes.
Yeah.
That's many gigabytes.
That's almost
several. in
100
fact.
gigabits.
Yeah, you're
Ye
right.
gods.
You're
Gigabits.
right.
So, I mean, I can understand why
Oof.
a single IC would just be like,
Help!
So, I mean, I can't fault them too much.
Still, though, that's kind of ridiculous.
It
Toast
is.
is done.
Well, everybody's concerned about is it going to go ring?
Yeah,
like
at
it
that
used
point,
to,
I
'cause
hope
it's a
it's not.
tiny little
I hope
fan.
it's just water blocks and shit, because that's ridiculous.
Just take-
It's
Why
an
would you
actual
put
fan.
little tiny, like 10mm fans on there? or
Not just like
something?
a giant block of metal this time.
It's interesting you mentioned that.
Oh boy, that's
Because
like
some of the
number 5.
enthusiast motherboards actually have areas where you can put your little water block right in there and run the piping. through.
Yeah,
water
I mean,
block
I've
on your
I've
Movo
seen,
chipset.
like,
Well, I
the-
mean, no, it's where you can put the piping through for your massive
Right.
everything.
Yeah, I've seen the coverage for it on some like super high end boards. I'm like, wow, that's
Uh-huh.
interesting. I won't do it, but it's
Yeah.
interesting.
That exists. Please go on.
Yeah, so that's going to be all for like the hardware stuff. Besides, we covered Google Stadia. It's one
Whatever.
of those.
Stadia, I think.
Stadia.
But whatever, who knows?
They do say that 4K will use up to 1 terabyte of bandwidth and 65 hours of play. So
Fuck it.
yeah,
Why
I
not?
hope you don't have
Stick it to the
caps.
ISPs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Eat
ISPs
it,
are gonna
Joe.
love that one.
They are definitely gonna make
They-
bank on
Yeah,
it.
they thought
They
Netflix
already
was
love
bad.
Netflix. Yeah, so
And Google's going to be like, what now? I'm going to stick it in every cloud server possible. Try to decentralize that, fuckers.
They
Yeah.
still need to fix input lag.
yeah,
They can't just demo something in the same building and call it good. They cannot.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true.
They are getting a lot of major label support though. They're gonna have like Doom, Assassin's Creed, that kind of thing.
And Final Fantasy 15, as I found out.
They also
Interesting.
during their press conference they also showed the Rockstar logo but didn't announce any games in particular. I figured GTA, you know.
Naturally.
More than likely. Google seems like a GTA kind of company. Do you know evil, you say?
No, not
Yeah.
anymore. They don't say that.
They haven't said that for years.
Do you know evil, you said?
Yeah.
That's appropriate.
Yeah, roughly their boots.
So moving on to more game stuff. A lot of this is going to be Blizzard related because you know there's been a lot coming from them, especially the last couple weeks. So Blizzard opened the World of Warcraft Classic stress test. They opened it to a whole lot of beta hopefuls. So like people who didn't get into the beta test for it already, but who were signed up to like kind of gain access to it. I got included in that.
Nice.
Which is great, except so it was originally going to be just like a 2-day thing, 1 week. That was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, we just want to test some things. We want you to log in. We want you to play. You can get up to level like 5 or something, and just kind of mess around. And I'm like, cool. I'm finally gonna get to be able to play some of the classic. And I didn't get in once. I
suck it, jerk.
I streamed the whole thing, and
what was it? You played more NetHack than anything?
I played NetHack the whole
While
time.
you clicked on log in and tried to log in.
Yeah, I was all like, well, I guess I got booted out again.
Now that's funny because you had a bunch of very interested viewers.
Yeah.
Reaction video right there.
Well,
not being able to log into one
Ooh,
class.
what's NetHack?
Yeah, the interested
really?
viewers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting. That's cool.
yeah.
La Placiere is now into NetHack.
I managed to get him hooked on NetHack. So that's a fun thing.
I won't do it without a GUI.
I don't know what these
but-
symbols mean. Oop, I died.
Oh, I do it.
I know what
through
that
Telnet.
symbol
Do
means
you?
now.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I can't do that. I can only do one game like sort of ASCII-ish,
That's
but
what we could
NetHack
do
isn't that.
tonight.
What?
I can watch you play NetHack.
Yeah, but
It's been a while.
but I'm not gonna do the Falcons whatever.
No,
or
you don't need
Vulture's
to.
Eye.
You can just
Yeah,
like
Vulture's
narrate
Eye.
it for me.
I will absolutely narrate the Telnet NetHack.
Vulture's Eye is my deal with that.
I like
Certainly.
the really cheesy soundtrack they put to it.
Oh,
'cause
it's hilarious.
It makes the experience
It
funny.
is super dumb,
Yeah.
but it's cool.
I mean, it's really good. 'cause
It's like mid '90s adventure
Oh,
game
it's
OST.
terrible.
it's so good. It uses a GM sound font.
does.
Like, what more can you
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
for?
Yeah.
But it's even better because so they took that GM sound font and rendered a MIDI out to OGG, and then they just played that OGG. So like
Yep.
they didn't do anything special.
Yeah.
They just rendered a MIDI out.
Hey, I was real impressed when I could load a MIDI into a sound font player and generate an MP3. That was fucking baller.
I'm very, very proud of you.
High school was an amazing time. Before sample libraries were a thing, sound fonts were a thing.
That's true, yeah.
I got into the sound font game so late, and I was just like, oh my god, this thing sounds like a real piano. I want it.
Yep.
It was worth
I
it.
have
And then
vastly
Creative
different memories
dropped
of high school.
sound fonts like
Fair.
a rock. Like just as soon as they had tried to popularize them, they also tried to bury them. And you didn't.
I
you-
had a sound font that was free. That was a Bosendorfer grand piano, and I'm surprised at how good it was.
like after Audigy
Anyway.
2, they dropped hardware support for sound fonts, and that makes me sad.
Womp
Yeah.
womp.
Only partially sad, not like
SF2.
entirely. Yay! So yeah. So back to Blizzard's stress test. Yeah. Wow. So the first week was kind of a failure, and I wasn't the only one who wasn't able to log in. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of us are just kind of like repeating.
There was a
through the
lot of
cycle.
anger.
There was.
Fantastic.
There was.
Imagine that entitled crowd.
There was a whole
Sorry.
mine worth of salt. But incidentally, like, they kept the server open and like they started Wednesday night, and I streamed Wednesday night and got nowhere. But I have a really good NetHack game going on. But now, well, not now yet, but
So
the
cool.
very next morning, on Thursday, I was actually able to log in and get some gameplay in and stuff like
you
that.
know when most people are at work.
Yeah, exactly. I played in the morning just
Funny.
before I went to work, and I barely got there in time, but it was
Uh-huh.
worth pulling up into the last moment because Classic is so good. And then I came home, and the servers had already shut down after work, so I'm like, okay, whatever. And then Blizzard made a statement like that either that night or the next day saying, well, we didn't get to test the things that we wanted to, so we're going to be running another stress test. same time next week.
Have fun.
And like everyone who wouldn't get in were like, "You bastards!" but also rejoice. So so they had the second one, and they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, the level cap is now 10," and so like people were staying on and playing longer and stuff. And I was able to get in both Wednesday night and Thursday morning, which is fantastic.
Okay,
So I
they
got some
learned.
gameplay in. I almost made it to the cap in that amount of time.
Cool.
And I mean, it only takes a few hours for the first few levels anyway, so it's not too bad. But
So I'm going to move this comment down to what you just talked about. 4 strength, 4 stam, leather belt.
oh yeah,
There we are. So I will also say that we've successfully become more bougie this week
Uh-huh.
in
Oh
having a
my
robotic
God.
lawnmower installed.
Oh,
So now instead of cutting the lawn, you can play WoW Classic.
This is true.
There we go.
I didn't go so far as to take a whole week off, but that's already because I planned my entire year's worth of PTO.
but it was only open for 2 days, wasn't it?
Oh no,
Well,
we're
no,
talking
for
about release
release
time.
in August.
Okay,
yeah.
all right, good.
So,
all right, fair.
There is one other cool
You're
thing
gonna
that
be
happened-
sick, aren't you?
for sure.
Sick.
Of work.
All right.
So something
same.
cool did happen on the stress test, though,
Hilarious.
and I wasn't there to witness it. But
Yeah.
so the some players gathered out in like the entrance of Stormwind, and for those unfamiliar, it's kind of like like a capital city. You know, it's a big castle looking thing, very blue, very Alliance themed. It's kind of like the human stronghold. And a whole bunch of players kind of congregated out, and like they were laying their characters down to spell out the word Omar, because that was the name of like the person, I think it was Omar Gonzalez, who had made, well, didn't like single-handedly do it, but like
Was a major
spent-
contributor.
Oh, absolutely! Like he spent a huge amount of time, like getting the data together and kind of proving to Blizzard, at large, like, hey, this is a possible thing. This is something that people want, and here's why it's feasible. And so, that's kind of why like people were kind of laying down and trying to spell his name out.
Interesting.
And after a while of doing that, and it's like this is just hundreds of players, just kind of like marching around and kind of like making a human shaped marquee out of this. An NPC, a giant human NPC with Omar above his head, shows up in the lake out front of town, and like a bunch of streamers were just losing their shit over it. And so, like, he just kind of like walks around, and like, people are like throwing buffs on him and stuff like that. And it was great. So like apparently the like that person logged in and was like controlling the character and like moving him around and stuff, and just kind of like basking in the moment. And then
MMOs.
To have that time.
yep, and then he promptly jumped off the bridge and everyone followed him, and it was hilarious.
I hope that's actually true and not a goof, because that would be perfect.
So
Lemmings.
that was
I had to. I'm sorry.
that was absolutely a thing. So that was kind of a cool thing. It's really nice to see the kind of involvement that Blizzard is having in WoW Classic. It feels like it's really the only thing that the old Blizzard style, I guess, the old Blizzard camp kind of has that sort of vibe in. So
There are so many people who have expressed interest in keeping their subscription, but only playing Classic now.
yeah, that's probably going to be me too.
Yeah.
That's fair.
They will, like, if you subscribe, you get both the retail game and Classic too. So I mean, it's it's not like you're giving up or paying twice or anything like that.
Okay.
You just kind of get to choose.
Yeah, my question would be then, would they make a classic only tier for that then, slightly cheaper or whatever for
that's been
people?
discussed quite a lot, but I don't think Blizzard wants to de-incentivize players
That's fair.
from
that's also
playing
fair
retail.
for them.
So they figure just flat fee every month, whatever. So there's that. They also made a pretty big announcement about their next installment in the StarCraft franchise. They decided to cancel their FPS type thing.
Which I had no idea they were going for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big same actually.
Yeah, they I guess it's something that's kind of been like hinted but sort of low key for the last like couple years. But
Aside from their sort of semi third person shooter Ghost back in 2006.
yeah, I don't think it's the same, but I think they wanted to try and do something similar to what they started and just decided to can that one.
Bummer.
because they want to focus more efforts towards a sequel to Overwatch and the Diablo sequel, which we already know about. Yeah,
Okay.
Overwatch
not the
hasn't even
mobile
been
one,
out
right?
that long.
Yeah, like I don't understand how
There's
like
there's a non-mobile Diablo coming, right?
We don't know that.
So they're talking about the Diablo for phones.
Yeah,
Oh,
articles are talking about like, oh, they want to focus on Diablo 4. It's all like, well, is that Immortal or is that like a different Diablo 4? Well, you know, they're
you heard about the you got phones, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that.
absolutely. Yep.
no,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
So-
all like, do you guys not
It's
have phones?
ambiguous.
That's what he said, like word for word, and I'm like, holy shit! And I was watching this live. Well, yeah, like through stream, and I'm like, oh my god,
Ah.
this is gonna go over really terrible.
It's gonna be a thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Mm-hmm,
Like even I felt like, oh, I've just been insulted like big time. Like yeah, of course I have a phone, but that's not
Fucking-
like why I don't have a phone to play Diablo,
I've never been able to get into touchscreen gaming ever.
No, it's not a good.
I've
interface.
tried.
Yeah, like they've
The
come up
only
with some
thing that I've enjoyed was fucking Angry Birds.
That was
Yeah.
very well implemented.
I mean, they did
I'll
come up
say.
with a pretty cool control scheme, during the presentation, but I
Engage.
just
Nice.
yeah, absolutely bring back the taco phone.
I had a taco tonight.
Oh, yeah. I
Congratulations.
thought you were about to say that you have a taco phone.
I mean, no.
No.
I have a candy bar phone.
Same.
Yeah, that's
Pretty sure
okay.
that's what the form factor's called. I think.
I've heard it described as such. I don't
All right, fair.
really
I mean,
get it, but
and
okay.
every Android is food anyway, so
Well, yeah. I wonder what Q is gonna be, other than an Android. Ha!
I don't
Star
think
Trek
Q is
joke.
an android.
No, really?
No.
Yeah.
He's a higher being,
Oh,
I
really?
believe.
I'm learning.
I do like John Delancey though. He's a good dude.
is it limited to just desserts?
John
or
Delancey's cool.
candy?
Yes.
Okay, because I was
Yeah,
all
it's
like,
all
quiche.
sweet foods.
that's the
And
first
what
thing.
is Q?
Yeah.
Actually, what is their thing for?
They haven't named it yet.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's in beta.
It would almost have to be quiche then. Like, what else can you have that starts with a Q?
quinoa.
That's not a
sweet.
dessert.
Yeah.
Neither's quiche though. It's an eggy
It's,
like
yeah, it's like an
pie.
egg
Oh my
pie,
God.
right?
Oh yeah.
Is that a pie
Why
or a
did you
quiche?
say
A
that
pie?
word?
So speaking of
Oh
our
no!
robotic
Why are we
lawnmower-
doing this to ourselves? No. What? Okay, go.
All right, fine. So there was a very good YouTube series that's been out there for at least a decade that brought Sansa / Jesse and I together the first time that we visited after I left that company that we started together after you bought your 930.
Jesus. Okay, we can.
All right,
Never mind,
Pokemon
just forget.
Vietnamese Crystal.
Oh no! Big ball,
How-
big fuck.
Well, huge. Yeah.
Huge ball, big fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's even better, I guess.
But they named the pro tag Eggy because everything had to be food or whatever. Like they
Okay.
named their Weedle Pizza, etc. But whatever.
Okay.
Eggy, EGGIE was the pro tag's name. We named our little lawn mowing robot Eggy because it looked like a little egg.
Okay.
So that's all.
Yeah, my mom gave me crap for that
Really?
because Pete saw it inactive on the front lawn when he came back, and like when he left, he
It
still
was
saw it
literally
there.
the first night when
Yeah.
we had it, and it was like, oh no, an incline battery
And so
dead.
he snapped a picture and sent it to mom, and mom's all like, "Hey, you still got that bug on your lawn?" And I'm like, "Oh my god."
I'm
Wow.
original.
News travels fast.
Yeah.
I've had we've had to pick it up and put it back on the charger like
Wait,
2 nights in a
you?
row.
No, that's up to them to do that. You're paying for it. Fuck it.
That's true. No, they actually. It happened again yesterday, but apparently it got caught on. Do you remember how, like, when you first had your sod put down, how there was thatch?
Yes.
So what had happened was our neighbor from the street on the left
Mm-hmm.
never really took care of his lawn ever,
Oh, fantastic.
and there was a bunch of thatch that was still left on the ground back there, and it got caught on it.
Yep.
And then it died. So then I brought it back to its little charger, and it was happily humming away. And I got home today, and Weedbot guy was, or not Weedbot, Turfbot guy was there, and he was all like, "Yeah, this is what happened, and your neighbors are lazy fucks." And I'm like, "Yep, we know." And he's like, I'm just going over like where it has learned your lawn so far, and I'm telling it to definitely come over to this side and learn more of it, because like the
Okay.
right side of our driveway and then the neighbor's houses here, like this strip of grass just wasn't getting cut. So he's like, I'm teaching it. I'm like, yay, I'm going inside by.
Yeah, it still has not zoomed off the rock wall, but
We're waiting.
yeah,
Can't wait.
it's
We're
gonna be one
waiting.
of those times.
YOLO!
It's so cute
Ugh.
though. It, like makes little chirps and stuff, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it also like when you pick it up, it beeps very angrily.
Well, I'm
So-
sure.
Did you do
that's
that?
I did.
intentional.
The first time-
did it to you?
Yeah, the first time I had to pick it up, it didn't run out of juice at all. It was just really pissed.
Oh,
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of anti-theft thing built into
there
it.
is. But when I picked it up yesterday, it was dead.
I had
Oh, womp
to
womp.
turn it off because otherwise it was gonna like be really loud the whole time I moved.
Oh, that's hilarious. Anyway,
No,
that's
it
Eggy.
wasn't.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay, are we done
Oh.
with the news? Can we move on?
Yeah,
to
let's go on to Toonski's Eggy.
Toonski?
Oh my god.
Eggy's so cute.
So
Anyway,
lame.
all right. Shall I?
Yes, please.
All right, we begin with Groove Before the Storm by M. Benson from Final Fantasy X.
And a remix from Contra Hardcore entitled It's Payback Time by Black Ace.
And then I've got Rum Barrel, a remix from Escape from Monkey Island by Yefish.
All right, I know everybody's been busy, but have we been playing some games?
You know,
Some games? Any games? One game? I don't know.
Not a
It's-
whole lot, personally.
well, maybe not you, but Mr. Bond and I have both had special stream events this last month.
That is true, and I completely forgot.
I figured I'd throw that out there so that maybe I could talk about mine first. So you can
yeah,
write your notes
please
down.
do, so I can maybe recover what I've got.
So for most weekends, Saxxon and I have joined a
Hey.
Pathfinder game, which is vehemently going to stay on 1.0. They are not into 2.0, which is coming out soon at all, because it changes things to be quite a bit different and less meticulous.
You'd
Apparently
almost
some
have
of
to
the-
like spin up a new game.
Oh, it would
if
absolutely
that
have
you
to be a
couldn't
new game.
migrate from 1 to 2.
Well, no, I wouldn't bother.
I thought Pathfinder was already kind of intended to be less meticulous than, say, D&D.
So Pathfinder is very similar to D&D 3.5
Okay.
in that it allows a large amount of customization while removing some of the arbitrary bullshit from 3.5.
And the really tedious,
Everything,
Yeah.
really, because 3.5 is pretty everything.
yeah.
It's like math homework.
I mean,
yeah, it really is, honestly.
when they went,
Especially character creation.
I mean, like jumping from 2.0 to 3.5, a lot of the tedium was removed. But Pathfinder streamlined. Yeah, I think so.
I think 2.0 is actually easier, but that's me.
There's-
THAC0 makes sense.
there's
It's a sliding scale.
There's less in 2.0 to think about, but it's also more tedious. So
I mean, fair.
it's-
I still want to get back to that game with Tyler, but anyway. So apparently Pathfinder 2.0 is coming out, and it oversimplifies things to a far grosser degree than would be beneficial.
Oh,
So
bummer.
basically, it went the route of D&D 4 and 5, and it changes a lot.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
the GM for this game is like, nope, not doing it. Fine. I'd still like to try it at one point. I've never
Yeah.
played 5.0 or 4. Well, that's not true. I played 4 once, but never played 5.0. But that campaign continues to go well.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
A party member ended up getting, we'll say, ejected in the nicest way possible
Yeah.
because of repeated warnings to not literally roll around in shit, etc. So, yeah, it was a thing. Anyway, but we are escorting a caravan to the capital city of this land, and it's all sorts of dramatic. We're very close to that place that we're dropping the caravan off to, and something, of course, happened, and they cut session. Last time, unfortunately, we couldn't go right when the dramatic moment happened. So,
That's so
we're
that
going
we
to
can be
pop
part
back
of
into
it.
existence and be like, what the fuck, dude? So, it's going to be a thing. And I'm a paladin,
So how long have you been escorting this caravan?
in-game, weeks.
Jesus.
Several weeks.
It's the worst escort quest ever.
Yeah, it's really terrible, but they're paying us, so... But they
Yeah.
also took us through
Hey.
terrible routes that included beings from the nether that would, like, saw off body parts
Whoa.
and add them to their own.
Whoa.
and
They
it
are
was-
paying by the day, so
Okay, fair. All right, take your time then.
yeah.
We have. But still, it's a really fun campaign with people who
my
are eager to
goodness.
learn, and it's a really good time. We're going back
Mhm.
tomorrow morning. Ordinarily, we would be playing on Sundays, but a good portion of our group happens to work in IT. Gee, imagine that.
I'm shocked, I tell you.
They have a product migration going live on Sunday morning, so we have to go on Saturday just to be safe.
Sunday go live though.
Yeah, fuck that. So
Sunday
Nope.
morning go
Yeah,
live.
exactly.
Oh, even worse.
yeah, it starts at
Yuck.
8 a.m. No thanks.
No.
So yeah, that game is continuing. I'm looking very forward to it. It is a class and a lot of other things that I'm just not familiar with. I've
Mhm.
never been able to use a class archetype before, so it will take, like, say, okay, paladin,
Okay.
but there's archetypes within the paladin that you can
Okay.
replace certain skills with other skills. So instead of being a straight up paladin, I'm a holy tactician. So
Okay.
I get things to, like, rally cry and, like, as if you're playing Fire Emblem, you're like, go here, and they get, like, free movement and things like that,
Mhm.
or a better chance to flank an enemy or that kind of thing. So
Yeah, and
I get
generally
a-
you have to trade away something in order to gain other things for the archetype. So it's not just a like, oh,
oh
I'm
yeah, you
just-
definitely trade things.
yeah.
Like normally a paladin, you would think, I'm going to smite evil. Well, you can't actually do that in this archetype because I traded smite evil for tactical acumen, telling like, hey, party members, focus in on this thing. I've marked it for you. You get an additional 5 feet of movement for free without provoking an attack of opportunity, etc. So there's some give and take there, and I'm learning how to play that better. I've never played a martial class, which is just like a sword wielder, who's hack and slash and tank and whatnot. So
Really? Did you not? I thought you played a warrior in Dave's campaign.
no, I don't think I did.
No, not a fan of the
I don't
melee.
remember. I don't remember now.
Yeah, it's been long enough.
Oh, I'm a fan of it. It's just I haven't played like this. I haven't been shoehorned into being lawful good, which I am definitely not lawful good. So
No, you're not.
no.
No,
I mean,
yeah,
my
the GM
character
is-
is neutral at best.
The GM is
So,
allowing you to bend that pretty far.
I mean, what do you think the greater good is? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. The god in this game is there's really one god instead of like multiple gods that you can choose from like most campaigns would have. So this one, I am a patron of Mitra the Fire Undying.
Gosh, that greatly simplifies geopolitical bullshit in this
It really
universe,
does.
doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, I mean, until we get to other continents, 'cause I'm sure there's other things going on there, but still, it's got a really fantastic story. The people who are in this campaign are artistic. We have really cool maps. We
Oh,
have
yeah.
minis and 3D printers, and
Oh my
it's
gosh.
really cool
Oh,
to see all the stuff.
okay.
All of the printing and the
It's
painting of
so
minis.
expensive
Yeah,
that I didn't have to spend. It's really
yeah.
great.
I'm a software guy, not a hardware guy.
Exactly.
I don't go for that.
No, this campaign is super cool because it's so
Wow.
much easier to visualize than drawing Sharpie maps with the,
Yeah,
the
okay.
one by one grids.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
anyway, looking forward to getting back to getting back to that tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's a good time.
This last Sunday, Monday, one of these days, we fired up the new projector, played Mario Kart 8. There's a bit of input lag,
Just a bit.
Womp womp.
but
Expected, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right?
I expected that.
I anticipate that it will be reduced with further firmware updates that have not been released past 1.0 so far. I'm actually okay with it. It did not take me a whole lot of time to adjust, but it's definitely different than a TV.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would definitely not play a first-person shooter or a rhythm game on it. But games like Mario Kart, where it's a little easier to compensate for a
Yeah,
bit of input
okay,
lag, is
fair.
not too bad.
And yeah, we played, I don't know, some amount of races in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with Carbon, and we maintained a 150% score lead, or rather 150% of the score of the opposing team.
Mhm.
I guess a 50% lead the entire time. At least 50% higher. I was real shocked, and there was only one baby who was on their team.
Yeah.
That is the metric by which we play.
I guess it is
And-
par for the course.
Was it 100cc? I think it was.
We did
'Cause
100.
Carbon hadn't played this game yet, but was doing quite well.
Mhm.
Because I think he said the last game he played was Double Dash.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
quite
that's
some
some
time
time
ago.
ago.
Well, Double Dash is fairly quick
It is.
in terms of Mario Kart.
So Carbon caught on really quickly. Our team was doing quite well. I'm looking forward to going back to that at some point, but please release some new tracks or something, or even just
Yeah.
do Mario Kart. I'll buy it. I don't
It's-
care.
It has been a bit samey, you know.
I'm gonna have to go back to Mario
for
Kart
me
Wii
personally.
and just play some ROM hacks
But
or
they
something.
pulled like half the tracks from Mario Kart Wii.
I mean, true, but you could still wheelie, and you got the boner
It's
mushroom and
true.
stuff.
They did get rid of the
Wheelie.
wheelies.
What's that?
Wheelie.
Yes. Backhand you.
They could at least get the Dolphin Dasher back. in
Yes!
there, right?
Oh my goodness, that was
Yeah.
the best bike.
It was the boss.
Because you can go through rough terrain and not
Could-
take as much of a
You
a
could
hit.
wheelie over rough terrain. In fact, that
Huh.
was the big draw of it for all of us. I think.
It's true.
Shortcuts.
It's true. But my big stream event for this month, after literal weeks of putting away the marathon stuff and cataloging things and cleaning and putting the projector up and the screen, we finally got to play things, and we literally got the stream ready to go 5 minutes before Blackbird showed up.
Hooray! This is
And then we had to
smart.
drop La Placiere off back in the Dells, but it's
Yeah.
fine.
By the way, thank you so much.
Yes, Lap, thank you. It was delight.
If you're listening, that helped us out immensely.
Yeah. So we had some drama with that.
Oh.
So we ended up buying a projector mount, and then we went to go put it on, and it didn't fit. And we were like, well, now what?
Didn't fit the wall or didn't fit the projector?
The projector.
Oh.
So
Hmm.
the mount holes were on the far corners of the projector instead of inward, like everything online suggested with pictures.
Oh, good.
So we were like, well, shit. Now what? And this was 11:30 at night, the night before he was supposed to leave with Saxxon to go back to that side of town.
Yeah.
Oy.
And I was like, how late can you stay? Okay, I want to be back at the hotel by like 4 p.m. next day because that's when my team's things are going on at the event that we stolen from. So we go to Menards at 7 in the morning and buy some pre-finished shelves that happen to be almost the same color as our trim, as well as trim. And we ended up making a shelf with trim that's all the same color and putting it up with brackets on the wall right above the door frame to the unfinished area.
Okay.
And set it in there and got everything working 5 minutes before Blackbird showed up. And that's including rerouting all of the cabling and figuring out how to get it out to the projector and everything else, and how to get it out to stream. Yeah, it turned out real well, actually. I have no idea how we pulled that off in the amount of time that we had.
I'm already tired from that description.
Yeah, so Octopath. The initial intent the last weekend was to finish the game. I did find the sorcerer. Like, Lauren's like, come on, look at the map. Where haven't you been? That's where the last job is. And I'm like, oh, right. I did remember it, like, after I had the initial not remembering. The reason I didn't or never went up to that area in the past was I tried to go there at, like, level 30, and it was danger level 52. So your average party level should be 52 to go there, and then it was just like, dead. So I just kind of gave up on it. Well, obviously, my party level is 75 and above now, so I had a much easier time, and I went and got the sorcerer job and just wrecked. It was a good time. But once I had that, I ended up finishing Cyrus's story and actually got to see the ending of the game, because every time you finish a story, you get the ending. And I am working on Therion's story now, and I anticipate that won't take too much longer. I got through his chapter 3. I just need to do chapter 4. Tressa's, I want to say, on chapter 4 now. I've been
hurry
ignoring...
up because we got the PC release.
I know. So I have a lot of characters that I've been neglecting, and I'm going to be sticking with this save for a long time, just grinding those characters up to higher levels. Because apparently there's an endgame dungeon. Somebody spoiled. Where you split into 2 parties of 4. So those 4 characters you've neglected for the whole game, well...
Wait, a party split at the end of the game? This is absolutely unheard of.
Yeah,
wait a minute.
Final Fantasy VI never happened. It's fine. That was 3 parties. It's not the same.
No, clearly not.
No. So I'm curious about that content. I am going to keep the Switch save going. However, I did say that I would start the PC release, probably play them simultaneously. And I mean, not literally at the same time, but like...
Wow, expert mode, yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. But I'm going to start with Hannet this time. She is the... How do I describe her character? She's an archer who can summon animals to fight.
She's like the Beastmaster or whatever.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy V-ish.
Yeah, she has a cat, like a snow leopard called Lind, and it does slashing damage, so it's like sword damage. So if enemies are weak to swords, it pinks away at their weakness for swords. So, yeah, I'm going to start with her because she has a really cool character concept. Like, but by the time I found her character in the game, I already had a really well-established 4 characters with a good balance, and I was like, I'm just going to keep these folks. Well, now I have to level everybody anyway. However, because I never really played her character, I'm going to start with her next time and go a completely different route now that I know where all the characters are anyway. So that's going to be real cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm taking a Twitch break as well as social media from almost every other source. So I'm not going to be streaming anytime in the immediate future, and then we've got SGDQ coming up before the next show. So by and large, I'm probably going to be taking a break from playing a whole lot of games on stream until probably a month from now. So I might be able to actually get caught up on like doing all the grindy crap on the Switch save for Octopath, just because I'm going to be at an event people are playing games, I'll probably just be doing that stuff there. So, yeah, that's really what I've been focusing on this last month. How about you?
Very good.
Yeah, for me. So, I haven't played as many games, but what I have played have been all pretty significant. I did get my time in World of Warcraft Classic, as I mentioned, so I'm not going to go into that. NetHack as well. My character is currently, I think, entering, or at least most of the way through Sokoban right now.
What class?
Samurai.
Cool.
Nice. That's the only class I've ascended with.
I did Samurai, Valkyrie, and almost did it with Wizard.
Wow.
Almost.
Impressive.
But I got killed right at the end. Or no, I didn't get killed. That game got canned because the server decided to update from 343. So that was left unfinished. And
that's
it's like
killer.
I had the amulet and or no, I didn't have the amulet. I was about to go piss off the wizard. That's what I was gonna do, and then go and attempt to grab the amulet, and then just run.
That's lame.
I had an ascension kit. I was ready to go, and but it's one of those things where it's all like I knew how much work it was gonna take me, so I wanted to like be able to dedicate a night to it, and like the time that I had, I go back there, try to boot the game up. The server's all like, "Well, I don't recognize the save game format," and I'm all like, "Oh, damn it!"
So lame.
Yeah, it was like I already had like 5 million points and everything. So I was this character was ready to go. So but yeah, it's I'm playing the new NetHack 3.6 something, 3.6.1 maybe.
3.6.3?
No? Are they whatever the latest one is.
3.4.3 was the last major one.
Yeah, then they
3.6
skipped
whatever.
3.5 because someone else had released their own hack called 3.5. So they skipped that number intentionally and went straight to 3.6. And then there was a tiny patch, so I think it's 3.6.1 now.
Sounds right. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm playing through that. A lot of the stuff that I remember from 3.4.3 is applicable. There's the magic word is a lot less effective, as I found out. So
That's
I can't
what I heard.
cheese
yeah.
it.
Which is the word again?
Elbereth.
Albereth, yes. You can't just spam it.
I
and be
never
safe.
ever used it.
Oh
I would
my
always
God.
forget about it.
You can't. It is extremely difficult to play through NetHack without that word, and it's not a spoiler because the game tells you.
Right? Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, they changed the rules around that significantly enough where like it's really hard to cheese it. And so there's that.
You used to just sit in aggro and just keep using Elbereth until the thing went away.
Yeah, I would burn
it.
it in the floor because if you burned it in the floor, it was permanent unless you like dug through it or attempted to burn some other text. And there weren't any other rules, but now they've made it so that it can very slowly erode. So if you burn it, it's still very difficult to erode by accident, but you can still erode it.
Same deal for like carving it with a wand of digging or something like that too?
A wand of digging is less. It wasn't permanent before, but that was also a lot more difficult to rub out.
Interesting.
But now they've made it so that not only do those rules apply, so there's no like guaranteed Elbereth anymore, but Elbereth only counts if it's the only thing written on a square, so you can't write it a bunch of times on the same square, hoping that one of them won't get rubbed out. So,
ergo the cheesing.
Yeah, that's the cheesing.
Yep.
I would
the
write
very
it like
loud Elbereth.
the one that I wrote down like 15 times beneath my feet. Yeah, you can't do that anymore. So those are the two big changes. The rest of the game has remained, for the most part, unchanged. My character is going to the final treasure room of Sokoban with the Ring of Conflict. And it is going to rock so hard.
That's going to be pretty good.
So basically, you're going to get everything to fight itself? Or fight each other, rather? Okay, yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
because ordinarily, like in a room like that, like all the monsters in a treasure room are spawned asleep.
Right.
And they're spawned with treasure underneath them, like a bunch of gold.
Right.
And but the door into the room is locked. If you don't have a means to pick it, you have to kick the door, but that causes a lot of noise.
Up, right? Yeah, I get you.
So the general tactic is to like try and find some way to pick the lock quietly, and then open the door, and then pick enemies off one by one, or have a pet do it or something.
Right.
But with a Ring of Conflict, like, my ass is going to be kicking that door right in and throwing the ring on and just watching stuff happen.
Yep.
So
Nice.
I don't get the experience for anything that gets killed in this way, but it is...
But you also don't die.
Yeah,
Right.
and it is
Yeah.
hilarious, because then basically, like, I wait until it's down to, like, a manageable number of enemies, and then I just go kill them,
Yeah.
and then take the treasure and go, so...
Nice.
So yeah, I have a really outstanding game of NetHack going on, and now having said that, I've doomed myself, which is okay.
Go Team A.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's that. And then there's also, and I wanted to save this one for last on purpose. I mentioned Dance Dance Revolution in just about every show. But the reason why it's particularly special is I'm part of a group of rhythm game hackers, I guess you could say. And kind of like our deal is like, some of it's preservation. Like, we'll reverse engineer formats and then convert them to something that can like more easily be preserved. Some of it is like conversions so that we can use it with stuff like Stepmania. And some of it is we like to go treasure hunting to see if there's any hidden stuff in these games, that was just inadvertently left in or undiscovered or whatever. Well, there's a number 4, and that is contributions to emulation. A user by the name of Windy Fairy, who is actually someone that I knew like over 15 years ago, it turns out. So we go way back, had decided to take all of the work that we'd collectively done to try and reverse engineer these formats and throw it into MAME. And so MAME very recently got preliminary support for certain versions of DDR that didn't have any audio for the longest time. The 2 reasons for that were, 1, we didn't have like the decryption algorithm because it was just that wild, and 2, we had to wait for the patent on MP3 to run out.
Well, there's that one taken care of.
So, and that's because like the actual format itself was MP3 for like these versions of the games, and it's all like, to have a decoder you had to have a license, which was, it really sucked. So that's another reason why people really haven't put a lot of time. That, and like, there have been so many new versions of DDR ever since that like it's just not, like it's not really the focus. So just in the last couple weeks, we had the MAME patch. He got it working for other games on the same hardware, like Guitar Freaks, Drum Mania, Mambo A Go-Go, like a whole bunch of rhythm games. Suddenly, we get sound, which is outstanding. We also discovered like internal formats for like the way that they do file name hashing, and like the way that they figure out like which files to load and stuff. And so like he and I have been just back and forth, throwing ideas and working on tools and stuff. And I finally got to the point now where like making sets, entire like sim file sets for Stepmania is almost entirely automated.
Nice.
And it's really outstanding. So where we plan to eventually go with this is 1-to-1 arcade data, like for Stepmania. So like you can download these packs. They'll have like the exact audio, the exact graphics, the exact steps, including ones that are like inaccessible from the game that just happen to be found in the files, and exact sync. So it's kind of the first time that I know of that anything like this has really been done. So we're really excited about this. So more to come on that, maybe by next show. But I've been putting in a lot of time playing DDR and playing all of these songs and these packs and stuff to make sure that like they play well and they kind of feel authentic. So yeah, that's kind of my big item. That's kind of why I haven't been playing a whole lot else. Is my ass has been buried in an IDE for like the last 3 weeks working on this stuff, and we're also doing it for Beatmania and Beatmania 2DX. So watch this space. It's Stuff for rhythm games is going to get real interesting the next few months.
Hey, if it gets us closer to where somebody doesn't need to try to find like an original setup for all of this to actually play it,
Mm-hmm.
all the better.
There are a lot of people already discussing ways of like, kind of like, hooking up official like hardware, but like MAME on the inside. There are
Mhm,
people who are
mhm.
like, someone's already written a patch to make lights work in MAME. Like they're like, oh hey, I noticed that you're like you have a working DDR patch, but lights aren't supported, so I made them supported. Stuff like that. It's kind of interesting, especially in the last few weeks, like how much the Bamani community sort of gathered around and just huge spike of interest, and all of this stuff is happening at once. And so emulation of like older rhythm games is going to get much more interesting real quick.
Well,
Yep.
if you want any of the metadata stuff I've been working on, I'd be happy to share that with you, considering that's advancing stupidly but quickly.
Yeah.
What?
MP3 is stupid but quick.
Yeah,
so I was
right?
just like, oh, that's
It's-
fitting.
Yeah, it's the word that works for it.
I mean, given that the encoders that they used would had to have been written in like 1999, all of the MP3s sound kind of not good, but at the very least, it's original data.
Right? And now it's open! Hooray!
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, since Tormod brought it up and I had promptly forgotten about it after doing it, go figure. I had my own, major streaming event the day after our last show. In fact,
5 years was it?
5 years. Yep.
Damn. Nice.
Wow.
Saturday the 18th and Sunday the 19th, I played through 17 different games over the course of 24 plus hours.
So your list is long.
It is quite long, so I'm just going to rapid fire the ones I did for that stream event because there's not really much to say other than I've played them before, which is why I went back to them. So Rogue Legacy, Flint Hook, 20XX, Fury, Dead Cells, Catacomb Kids, Teleglitch, Everspace, Overload, Spelunky, Bleed, Bleed 2, Heavy Bullets, Strafe, Cryptarch, Crypt of the Necrodancer, and Galaxy the Dimensional.
Which
All
one
over
went
those.
the best?
Oh boy.
And I'll leave that up to you to decide what best means. For
Yeah, the one I remember the most is probably Overload because I get really fired up about it.
that. Nice. And that was the 6 Degrees of Freedom?
Yep.
one?
Yeah,
I've
that was
still
one
got to
of them.
start that. I've got it, and
Oh,
I've
you
got to
should
start
play
it.
It's
I got
real
to.
good.
I have played a bit of Descent this year, and Descent
Oh.
2, and I just it's a good mood.
It's fantastic. It's great. I really wish I had a VR setup for it because it's good.
Did you not have a VR setup at some point?
I did. I had the
First gen.
original Oculus dev kit,
Okay.
and it was okay. Didn't really have much hardware to run it with, so it was kind of like subpar. But the last time we went to PAX would have been 2016 now.
Mhm.
Overload devs were there, and they had
Yep.
a let's see, what would have been the kit at that point?
5? Pretty sure it was.
Not
Not the Pro, but the original 5.
No, they had whatever
They
the
were-
Oculus version was.
They were
Really?
just
Okay.
showcasing
Crescent-
a new one,
Crescent
weren't they?
Cove, I think, is what the code
Oh,
name
okay.
was for it. So
Yeah.
I put that
Shit.
on his plate. I was like,
Fine.
oh, it's so good.
Nice.
So yeah, I spent an inordinate amount of time at their booth.
Oh, yeah,
for
for
that
sure.
because it's awesome, and they're really good dudes too.
Yeah.
And fantastic people. But yeah, I remember Overload the most just because I get fired up about the game. It's fun to yell at shit a whole bunch.
Mhm.
But that was just those 2 days. Besides that, you may recall I was still on La Mulana 2 by the time last show rolled around. Well, we're
Something
done
about
with that.
Lubisa.
We're done with that finally after the game-breaking bug in the final area got fixed. We could climb the pillar and just get through it.
Nice.
So I spent one more day after that point with the game, 4.5 hours, 3.5 of which was on the final boss. So that is now done and put to bed. Rip La Mulana 2. You will maybe be missed after my mind forgets the pain.
GG
Oy,
for now.
That's
Yeah.
what the liquor's for.
right? And just drink your troubles away. So now we're on to Risk of Rain 2, which is fun. It's in early access right now. Risk of Rain 1 was released, I want to say like 2013.
I had a
Um,
question about that.
Yeah, sure.
So Risk of Rain 2 is obviously a 3D game. What's the original?
No, it was a
That's why I
2D
was just
side
gonna,
scroller
like,
platformer. Yeah.
Okay, because it looked a lot different to me. Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense then.
The core
Okay.
premise of it is still the same. You have to go through the level, you have to find the teleporter, you have to wait around for it to charge, and you have to get the fuck out.
Sure.
Because the game gets harder and harder the longer you wait. It translates surprisingly well.
Cool.
Like they did a fantastic job. It's not a first-person shooter; it's a third-person kind of over the behind the shoulder type view type thing, and it works really well. I mean, even in early access, as early as it is right now, it's fantastic.
All right.
And my intention was to kind of put a couple weeks into it and put it to bed for now because early access. But I'm actually going to do one more bonus stream tomorrow,
Cool.
7ish p.m. CDT or whatever, for my Saturday grab bag, and then put it to bed and wait for the next major update or whatever.
Cool.
Besides that, Shmup Book Club is still going strong. We finished up our May Shmup, Cyber and the Dragon Weapons, back in May. Derp, repetitive, redundant. I managed to take the top slot in that one. Besides the person who won the poll on it, of course, because they were like well and above everybody else's score. Because we got some actual serious shmuppers in the club now, so
Nice.
it's fine and good. So I submitted Gradius 3. It didn't make it. Go
Again.
figure.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah.
So the new shmup of the month for June now is Ryujin. It's an early '90s shmup.
All right.
It's about how one could describe it. They put almost zero of their budget into music, so it's kind of blippy and bloopy and whatever. But it's a decent gameplay. It's some decent gameplay. So
Guessing it's still arcade.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's still full on arcade, but that's going well. And then the quarterly for April through June is still going on. Armed Police Betrider.
Nice.
It's a fun game. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
There are some color contrast issues where bullets are both very tiny and very hard to see. Go figure. So that's going to be going through the end of June, but we'll see how that turns out. And then, of course, continuing Assault Android Cactus Plus and doing still some baseline runs for the Campaign Plus mode. Nobody submits speedruns for it, so I
weird.
technically have the lead on all the ones I've submitted.
All right.
which is fun and cool. So whatever, people, please play it. Please submit your runs.
What's your favorite Android now?
I haven't gotten to a baseline run with Aubie yet,
Okay.
with Aubergine, but I think that's going to be probably on Sunday.
Cool.
Since I've gone through Cactus Holly, Lemon and Coral were last week, so Starch and Aubergine will be this week. Then it'll be, let's see, Peanut Shiitake the week after, and then Licorice will hang out for a bit, I suppose. Continuing to try to knock out Infinity Drive with Shiitake. Last week was layer 39. Eventually I'll get it.
All right.
And that I believe is it. I've been doing a little bit more of Doom proc gen levels just because it's a little fun, little quick spin up for
Original
20 minutes.
Doom?
Yeah, OG
Okay.
Doom 2. Just spin up a random ass level gen and go to town on it. It's really actually fun. Oh, I did play some of the new official episode 5 for OG Doom. The one that John Romero did. Sigil is what it's called. Is what that episode is called. It's very tough, very difficult. You can tell Romero still loves Doom. His design is very good. It's very top notch. He leans a little bit on certain elements now. I won't spoil it in case people want to go play it. But
Monster
it's...
closets?
No.
Okay.
No, certain triggers though.
Okay.
He is very fond of, which is it's fine. He's the originator. Of
I
it.
haven't.
can't
I
begrudge him
haven't
for
played
that.
it. I just know that like monster closets or something,
Oh
especially
yeah, it's
in like
always
later
a
Doom.
hallmark. It's always a hallmark of the series, really. But yeah, I would certainly recommend everybody to go grab it and play it. It's free to grab. It does require a source port to play it. You can't spin up like the OG Doom engine and expect to play. It does require a source port like GZ Doom, Chocolate Doom,
Oh,
Crunchy.
why does it? Why does
whatever.
it require a source part?
I'm not quite sure. I think there are some.
Because this sounds like a challenge accepted.
Oh, really?
I'm
Okay.
gonna,
I mean,
I'm gonna try it.
Go nuts. I mean, try
I have
it.
the
Go
hardware,
for it.
so
Go for it. I mean, give it a go. I think there are some. I'm not 100% sure on what improvements the source ports do that would necessitate it for this new level pack. I would guess some sort of triggering mechanisms or line defs or some weird extension shit that they're doing with it.
Oh,
But
okay. Like, they decided to use like the hexen line deaths or some weird stuff.
Maybe like I know it was officially recommended or officially like said, but either by Romero himself or the press release or something that you can't do it with the OG Doom engine. It's like, okay, well maybe, sure, fine, whatever. I don't use it anyways. I use GZ Doom because I like my mouse look.
Yeah, GZ Doom's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I like Chocolate Doom as well.
Yeah, but it was like, it's cool. I'm up through map 4, I think I'm up to now. It's difficult. Like, it's definitely need to plan your ammo usage because you don't get a whole heck of a lot.
Ah, okay.
The episode itself is based around Doom 1, so there's not going to be any Doom 2 monsters or anything like that. No super shoddy, which is unfortunate because, rocket in your hand pretty much.
I'm gonna guess it overlaps like an existing episode when you load it up or something.
Yeah, it's actually an entirely different entry in the menu. Like you've had Knee Deep in the Dead, Shores of Hell, Inferno, Thy Flesh Consumed, and then Sigil is
that's why
the immediate following for that.
Yeah.
And
because the original Doom engine wouldn't let you do that. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can't just like simply add a new episode like that's hard coded into the engine.
Oh, interesting. So. Okay, yeah, then you might be right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bummer. That's not going to stop me from somehow trying.
Yeah, I mean, go nuts, right?
If you want, you can do whatever you want. I guess.
Right. So yeah, it's definitely cool, definitely interesting. Go do it. Congrats, Romero, you did it.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention one thing. Final Fantasy VI Beyond Chaos. I started my first randomizer with Fuzzy, and we got to Kefka at Narsh. We didn't actually complete Kefka at Narsh, but we're just under 4 hours in. Wow, that's real fun. I really want to play more of it. It's actually really cool.
You should.
So where does that put you, like, percentage-wise?
As in, like, completion of the game?
Yeah.
I'm still well within the world of balance. Like, we're just about, as soon as you finish Kefka at Narsh, you get Tritoch for real. So this is before Terra flies off to Zozo, actually. This is, like, what spawns that cutscene. So, yeah, there's a lot of game left.
So you're, like, looking at another 4 to 6 hours, probably.
More than that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm playing it super casual mode, like, oh, that's what this skill does. Oh, I died, etc. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, like it's really fucking cool. Now I've done this completely off stream. I'm trying to actually train myself to play games off stream more because I need to enjoy things.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, fun how that works, right?
It's okay to enjoy things off stream.
It is.
Fuzzy stopped over one Sunday and we just played a bunch and then got food and played some more and then called it a day. So we're going to keep that going at some point. I will keep people abreast of the progress on that. That is a thing that I could definitely see being a recurring theme on my channel. Obviously, it's not going to be a beat a seed in a sitting thing, but yeah, Fuzzy ended up doing permadeath. So basically, start a seed, and as soon as your party hits annihilated, you start over. But
he got pretty far.
Yeah, he was playing one seed for like 2 weeks. And got into the world of Ruin and started doing some character side quests, and unfortunately met a very untimely demise.
Yeah, it was a very unfortunate monster configuration.
Yeah. So, yeah. But, we're going to try that. I'm not doing permadeath because I'm still learning quite a bit, but I'm learning all sorts of good information and, like, stick a female party member in your first slot because some shops will get half off, etc. Yep. So just things like that, like wait to open certain chests because they get better over time, that kind of thing.
Interesting.
It's real cool. So yeah, that's that.
I don't know if I could engage with the roguelike aspect of that. Restarting an entire thing because your party gets wiped.
That's literally just because they have a leaderboard for it.
Oh, I see.
You get certain amounts of points based on the events that you finished. And I think they weight it based on your average party level. So
interesting.
So this is across seeds. It's not just on one seed. So,
leaderboards across seeds, huh?
Yep. You get points based on the events you're able to finish and your average party level when you did it.
Interesting.
So
it's an interesting way to normalize it.
Yeah. But
what I'd really like to try Final Fantasy 1 rando.
Oh yeah.
I've been watching a heck of a lot. They
now have another tournament going.
Yep, they've got a Chaos Rush tournament going. They either still have or just finished another quote unquote standard tournament for it. And I love that shit. It's 100% nostalgia trigger. And
Hey, I mean, like, if you ever do it, I'm absolutely watching that.
yeah, I've got some dependencies to work out for that. I got to find a tracker and just do some other basic garbage for it.
Mhm.
But I definitely want to do it. Give it a try because I love me some Final Fantasy 1.
And I have to play that game blind at some point.
You should absolutely.
Yeah. Gosh, I got it for PSP. I beat it and then never touched it again.
Oh,
Fair.
no, you got to play the OG. And
I-
yes.
Yeah,
I
I am
really
absolutely
do.
doing that. I just remember going to a town and buying the fire spell and me like, what the fuck? Like, because I had been used to like the other games at that
Right,
point.
where
Like,
you
you're
learn them?
buying
Mhm.
magic. What the
Yeah.
fuck is this shit? And then I had my 2 hours with it when I was visiting my cousin when I was a kid, and that's the only time I played.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't get very far in 2 hours with that
Yeah.
game.
Mm.
But yeah.
Absolutely not. All right, bonus level 2, some Toonskis.
All right, The Darkest World by Demons from The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
And a remix from Deltarune entitled Lancer vs. Lancer by Pirate Crab.
And then finally, we've got Hayride Dreams from Super Mario 2 by a one-man Dan Band.
All right, sounds like we got a few rapid fire designs to go through tonight. So let's get to
Yeah,
it.
these are going to
Ah.
be short, I think, at
Yeah.
least between him and me.
All right, title is Roll. Just roll.
Like roll
Super
as
Monkey
in
Ball.
ROLL.
Okay.
Yep.
The motion, not playing a
A roll. Yes, indeed.
right.
You
A
play
role-playing
roll.
game.
You play a roll. Do you play a roll? Do you roll as a roll?
I mean, I roll with it.
Okay, fair.
Nice. Genre is, well, we'll start with puzzle. It grows. Players can be one or multiple, depending on the game mode that you're in. Input method is twin stick or gyro controllers.
Okay. Are you all rolls, or is there a baguette or a croissant in there, perhaps?
God.
I mean, you'll find out.
Other sort of toasted pastry.
I don't know. You're crusting me here.
Ugh, sorry.
Graphic style, no preference. Audio style, no preference. Point of view, toggleable between first and third person. Depends on what kind of camera angle you want. Think of this like the SM64 kind of camera, except not
Okay.
shitty.
Aw.
The story is NA. There's no story here. The hook. Okay. So I take that back. Single player story mode, sort of, I guess. It adds action RPG elements to the game with progressive story and stats. Big heavy air quotes on that because it's meaningless. It's just bullshit, like random stuff that's filled in to make it sound vaguely story-like, but it's clearly bullshit.
Okay. Okay.
My spaghetti stat is at 17.
Exactly.
So you're
it's
just playing a role?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get progressive stats, bosses, upgradable skills, so on. There is another mode that is multiplayer co-op or competitive play, depending. Your inventory is ability and stat boosting cards, where you initially have a maximum for the amount of equipable cards that you have, but that can grow over time.
Missed opportunity to call them carbs.
Why not? Dyslexia ho. There we are. That can raise or lower over time based on the equipment / other cards that you find. Mechanics. In twin stick mode, one stick controls the camera, the other the ball. In gyro mode, it's all balanced all the time with buttons controlling jumps and items. Objective is to navigate labyrinthine pathways, obstacles, challenges, and traps to find the maze's exit. So it's got about as much story as Pet the Pup at the Party, except it's progressive stats as you go between maps.
Okay.
So it's just going to be about as silly as that.
Like what sort of stats?
Like, how high can you jump? How often can you jump? How smooth are you? That kind of thing.
How buttery and flaky is your crust?
There you go. That kind of
Oh my
That could
God.
be the
Silly
charisma stat, you know?
There you go. The charisma.
Crispy, crunchy, tender, flaky crust.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if a hot pocket does a hot pocket count as a roll?
Only if it's frozen inside.
Okay, fair.
No. Absolutely not.
Ew, yuck.
I mean, that's how they cook in the microwave.
That's
I mean, I don't know what you're
well,
talking
usually it's
about.
frozen on the outside and then nuclear on the inside.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
it's-
sorry.
yeah,
I guess
the
that
other
was
way
the
around.
inverse. My bad.
Right.
But, I mean, that's the game. It's basically a labyrinth game, except digital and competitive if you so choose. So you can have other players that are basically trying to fuck around, like blocking your path or like smacking your ball out of existence, etc.
Okay.
Hiding the pup at the party. Not really.
Stealing your butter,
There you go. Making you less flaky because you have less butter.
right?
There you go.
Eh.
Got to be less
Placing it
baked
with
to play this one.
margarine, or
Ugh.
I can't believe it's not, or
Crisco. Think about that one. Crisco.
Yuck.
Oh my gosh.
Disgusting.
Is this just kind
Did
of
you
like
just say Crisgusting?
No, I said disgusting.
I
but
thought you said
okay, we'll go with
Crisgusting.
disgusting. Why not? Ew.
I was like,
absolute- yeah, you
Uh.
could do discrusting as well.
Yeah, also true.
Gaping logic there. Anyway.
Ew.
No.
So nasty.
All right, moving on. Next game.
Proceed.
Okay.
I don't know how
So-
you're gonna follow that one, but
Yeah, I have no idea. Mine's gonna be kind of like So there was mention of kind of like Angry Birds.
I knew it.
But yeah, I was just gonna get that out of the
I
way.
saw Slingshot and I was like, I knew it.
Yep.
So
Of course.
I'm really a big fan of like slingshot mechanics, but it feels like by themselves a slingshot mechanic is very not interactive. It's just kind of like you just kind of set it and let it go. I kind of wanted there to be something more, so I wanted to take that and expand on it. So my new idea is a combination slingshot and kind of like input timing mechanic, rhythmic, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Like it doesn't
okay.
have to be, but I suppose it can be. But basically, it's so you have your projectile and you basically have your slingshot, and it's a touch screen interface. So you pretty much just like tap or
Huh.
press hold. You kind of aim your projectile and whatnot. But after you fire it, the projectile is also something that you can choose to preemptively detonate by just tapping on it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna Dragon Force your way to victory at that point.
Yeah, not quite. But while your camera's sort of following this projectile in motion, you can interact with some of the other stuff that you're passing along. So, there'll be
I
like other
see.
buttons and
Okay.
things that can kind of pop up, and you just go on, like, the camera's going to be scrolling, so, like, you got to be sort of quick. But, like, a button to open a door that would otherwise block your projectile, you have to be like, oh shit, button, boop, and then you press it and, like, some door opens or something like that. Or maybe you have to, like, press and hold that button while the camera is scrolling, so, like, you sort of have to follow it along, that kind of
I
thing.
see. Okay.
There might be some stuff where like you have to. It's gonna need like a multi-tap, or multi-touch interface rather, not multi-tap. So sometimes you might have to do like two things at once. Just to kind of like just this wild stuff in order to get this projectile all the way through. There might be times where you actually want it to hit something because it might destroy something in your path, or free up another path somehow. So at the beginning of a level, you're given a certain number of like projectiles that you can use, and that's how you can complete the level. You get a bonus for any of them that you don't use, but the puzzles are going to be designed to be extremely stingy with the projectiles, especially in the later levels. Just so that you're very encouraged to, not like BS your way by blowing everything up, but rather, like trying to get around the obstacles and stuff without having to blow anything up. There might be, some other things that you can kind of like slide in and out of the way, like, trampolines that'll change the trajectory of your projectile, that kind of thing. So pretty much any which way that, you can kind of manipulate your way through a level. But anytime you hit something that's like actually solid and not, like elastic or anything like that, boom, the projectile blows up. You get to see the trajectory that you took, and then you can kind of repeat that. And this is kind of less of a game and more a particular mechanic that I think you could expand into a game if you made a lot of levels and stuff for it. But
So, you ever play a game on the Apple II SE that was basically making a paper airplane and throwing it as far as you could?
no,
That was
Never
definitely
have.
a game that we had in elementary school.
I remember that.
It was that and Odell Lake.
Yep. Also remember that.
But like, so it's basically that, except you have obstacles in the way and other things you could do while you're watching it go. So that's pretty neat.
Cool.
Also, what's another game that reminded me of? There was another game where you like precisely planned out your arc and you tried to like get over mountains and walls and stuff to like bomb castles and stuff
Oh yeah,
with like a trebuchet game.
I've played that under many different names. I don't remember
Right.
what it's called.
So
Yeah,
it just kind of
that's-
reminds me of something like that, except loosely, obviously.
It
But
has
Yeah.
Shades of Rampart, Scorched Earth was a popular kind of tank artillery style game.
Right,
There's
yeah.
tons of like clones of that.
I mean,
just-
yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of iterating on that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
it just feels like once you shoot, it's
You
very
score.
uninteractive, and you just kind of
Right,
have to
right.
wait,
Mhm.
But I think that depending on how complex the levels you can make, you can take the skill ceiling and just like push it way up,
right.
by encouraging players to be like really elaborate in the ways that they try to get these bombs through a level.
Right. I like this kind of game because it's real easy to play it and then very shortly after play it again and play it again
hmm
and play it again,
Mhm,
and you
mhm.
just get probably proc gen stuff here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean-
Randomizer. Woo!
I mean, you go ahead and we may as well just shorten it to proc gen now because that's the new hotness. And you
I
just
don't
have like,
even-
hey, a new level to try. Blop.
Like I didn't even put that as part of a genre. Like everyone just kind of, if you have procedural generation, it ends up being like part of the genre or like the description of a game.
Right.
And like I don't know that I would like put that in like, oh, procedurally generated slingshot game, because I would like to have some intentional puzzles.
Right.
I would
mean,
like
you
the proc gen
can.
is kind of like a bonus, like, oh, there's also a proc gen mode, so if you manage to beat like all of the regular levels,
It'll
you can also
unlock
go
this.
through. Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe like either unlock or just like all you got to do is beat the tutorial and then boom, you have both of those modes available, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Or skip the tutorial. I hate forced tutorials, but I want I effectively want to make it so that like it's just a little goodie that you get, like, hooray, you've made it through the introduction to the game. Now pick your poison. Like, which way do you want to go on this one?
I think it'd be funny if you made one option for the tutorial, hit the wall, and then it's like right in front of you.
Yeah.
You did it.
Achievement unlocked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good old
course.
Chivos.
Ugh.
You participated.
I've
Ugh.
got more than one game that gives you an achievement for booting the game. And what's hilarious
Yeah.
about those
Yeah.
is you can find out the percentage of people who have actually run the game that they've purchased at all.
Right.
And for
based on
some
those
games it ends
stats,
up being like somewhere between 70 and 80%, but some games it's even less, and that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you
So
bought this
lame.
thing and then you never booted it, not even once.
That's like me, most of my Steam library.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, me
Yeah.
too, but
Yeah.
it's because I've subscribed to Humble Bundle for a number of years,
Mhm.
and I get a lot of really good games, and I never find the time to play them because I'm so busy, like,
Mhm,
working on other
mhm, mhm.
projects and stuff.
I mean,
then-
I'd rather have too many games than not enough.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So-
well, that problem's been solved
Right.
several
Yeah.
times.
Exactly.
Oh
Thank
my
you,
gosh,
Humble
yeah.
Bundle. And many indie devs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was a time where I had a lot more time, and
That time has passed.
right? And like, shareware discs and stuff like that, where
Right?
like the selection of actually, good and fun stuff was so small that like you could just kind of, master the really good ones. But nowadays it's the available good games is just the number of them is greater, even though the like maybe the percentage of good games to all games in general hasn't changed a whole lot. The volume of games is much greater.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, speaking of proc gen, I know.
Is it
Another-
arcadey?
Withhold your shock. Also arcadey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it twin stick?
It is not. No.
Oh, okay,
It's,
okay.
it's a side-scrolling endless runner / platformer,
I
Huh.
like those.
which I have
Okay.
definitely done many of in the past. Except this one involves grappling moving objects to progress forward and or upward.
I dig.
Yeah. Yep. So you start at ground level, you start very stationary, and you have to grapple onto an object that's flying by. So when you're very close to the ground, it starts out very small, like passing bugs, and you get up to birds, and then
Sure.
advance to low-flying planes, hang gliders, helicopters, clouds, get up to rockets and satellites, and then eventually comets and meteors as you kind of transcend the atmosphere.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
So
so
it's
you're
a
gonna
vertical
start.
grappler. Gotcha.
You're gonna
Sort of,
start
but
moving
you
really
start
fast.
moving real fast horizontally too.
okay.
right?
Okay.
So it's momentum-based physics for speed and acceleration, depending on which objects you grapple. You have a very low amount of air control, however. You can really just kind of shuffle a little bit forward and back to kind of position your next grapple, but then the grappling kind of takes over in how you're actually moving. You can grapple up to 3 objects at once. The one that's moving the fastest in either forward or upward will obviously take the lion's share of the momentum with you. And then as you kind of spread out, your grapples kind of get strained, and then eventually some of them will break. But the one that's moving the most will kind of carry you forward. So the higher you go, the faster the objects move. We already kind of went over the basic progression there. But then the less your forward momentum decreases, since as you get higher up in the atmosphere, you get less air resistance, so you're not slowing down nearly as much. And the less your altitude will naturally decrease because you get less gravity kind of affecting you. And then it moves right into scoring. It scales based on your forward speed, so the faster you move, the higher your score kind of ticks up. Based on your altitude as well, and the number of objects you're currently grappled. So even though it might not be beneficial to you speed-wise to grapple more than one at a time, you get a kind of a slight score bump if you got more than one captured.
I'm just imagining, like, okay, I'm just gonna grapple this planet, like slingshot around this black hole.
Right? Yeah, and moving super fast, transcend space and time.
Gravity.
Yeah. Yep. You also get bonuses for landing and surfing on objects that can hold your weight. You will eventually get kicked off, but the longer you can stay on there, the better you can do. Surfing will cause objects to leave the scene. So what axis would that be? The Z-axis, I suppose, more into the screen, more out of the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
It'll cause objects to kind of veer off and kind of leave you just kind of at your own if you try to surf on them for too long. But objects can enter the scene from either side, left or right, at any time. From the top, when you're kind of lower down in altitude. From the bottom, when you're at higher altitudes. And then forward and backward through and towards and away from the screen, I suppose, at any time. With ample visual warning, of course, so you can kind of understand what's going on. Since it's primarily a 2D kind of perspective on things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Like proc gen, endless mode, just go nuts.
Do it up.
Do whatever you do. Go as far as you can. I remember playing a lot of like really old ass Flash games that kind of riffed on this.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
A whole bunch. Like pick an angle, pick a power, and then at that point it became, as you said, like just watch it happen. No,
Yeah.
Like give me some interactivity, give me some control over what I'm doing, really, and see how far I can get.
Cool.
That's it.
Right on.
That's all we got. Some rapid fire games, which is good because we are running late on this one because of all of our rambling in the first two segments, which is fine. We can always have a show like that. But besides that, any other final closing thoughts we need to impart? Otherwise,
I've already spoken way too much.
It's been nice.
Big mood.
Yeah.
Big mood. All right. With that, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'm Mr.
I'm Tormod.
I'm Saxxon.
We'll leave you with our typical closing track, a remix from Mario Kart Wii entitled Wind in Your Hair by Overclocked University. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.
Adios.